Hey everybody, Doug here from Nostalgium Arcanum. Before we get going on this episode of Total Recall, wanted to let you know that on Thursday of this week, if you're listening to this the week it comes out, I will be guesting on an episode of Pixel Project Radio with our friend Rick Firestone. He was on our show not that long ago talking about Final Fantasy IX, and so I'll be dropping by his show to talk about Super Mario Wonder, just a real delight of a video game. So if you want a little extra time with us, go find that show, give it a subscribe, and as Douglas Quaid would say, get your ass to Mars.
Hello, and welcome to Nostalgium Arcanum. I'm your host, Doug Leaf. Each episode of this podcast, we'll look back on the movies, TV, games, people, and phenomena that we still love talking about all these years later, and ask ourselves why these bits of pop culture still enchant us today. This week, we'll be revisiting If you like movies where Arnold Schwarzenegger goes, have we got a podcast for you? Because we are talking about Total Recall today, and if memory serves, this is a fantastic movie. It was even better than I remembered it going back to rewatch it for this podcast. So I'm very glad we had an excuse to go back to this one and to the well that is Arnold Schwarzenegger and to help me do this one. Returning guest of the podcast, you most recently heard him on our Inner Space episodes. Before that, Edward Scissorhands and many more. My old buddy, Alex Sosin.
Thank you so much for having me back. It's been a fantastic experience getting back in there to do this kind of thing, do this kind of, podcasts and all this kind of stuff. And now I'm back again. It's a fantastic experience. Thank you so much.
I'm going to warn the audience, you might hear a lot of this tonight.
There's going to be a lot of No, but thanks for having me.
Buckle the fuck up.
No, see, it's fantastic. Just all the special effects and all these. I can't wait to talk about my favorite movie that they filmed in 1990.
We will get into all the awesome details of this. Before we do that, tell me how things are going with your filmmaking career.
Yeah, no, things are good. So we finally finished the 23-minute cut of The Canyon. So we've started submitting it to new festivals. So kind of like last time, there's no real updates on that other than the fact that the cut is shorter. So we're doing The Canyon, and then I'm working on a new suspense thriller with my co-writer. We're doing kind of a throwback to First Blood and Death Wish and a little bit of The Equalizer, things like that. So we're working on a suspense action script, and that's basically what I've been up to. And then I've just been working my ass off nonstop at my bread and butter day job. So I like to do this creative stuff as much as I can, but I just don't have a lot of time. It kind of sucks, and it's like I'm more tired than I've been. So
yeah, I feel you. I totally get it. Well, I'm glad you suggested this one.
Yeah. Man. Yeah.
Man. So tell me why you wanted to talk about your nostalgic memories of Total Recall.
The boobies. No.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Three boobs. It. No, that's it. That's it. No, that's right. No, I think for Total... Well, first of all, I think my appreciation for Total Recall was more as an adult when I saw... I mean, not like a teenager when I really started to get into it. Because when I was first introduced to it, I think it was kind of like one of those things where it was at a friend's house and we're watching it and I see all this like ultra violence. And I was 10 years old when it came out. This is 1990. But I first heard about it when I think I saw like the theatrical poster, and I think I saw like the trailers for it, and the mask, the head saying, get ready for a surprise and all that kind of stuff, all the marketing, there was a lot of marketing for this movie. So I was introduced to it then, but again, I didn't really appreciate it until, in fact, I think I looked at like a Fangoria magazine when I was going to like Comic Cons and, you know, really collecting Fangoria, which I have a shitload of. And on the cover of one, and you know what, it might have been Starlog, but on the cover of, this is how sick I am, but on the cover of one was the makeup effects of Rob Bottin for, you know, spoiler, but a character who takes off his mask outside on Mars and his head does all these fucked up things. And it's right on the cover of Fangoria. And I looked at that and I'm like, all right, now I've got to see this movie. And I think my dad had actually seen the movie all the way through and I was doing something else. He's like, Alex, you got to check out this movie. Like, he told me all about the plot and all about the Mars and the mining and the colony. Like, I didn't know there was all this shit going on because when I was a kid, I didn't really know. I'm like, what is this? You know, get ready for a surprise. And then Total Recall. I didn't know it was like about Mars. I didn't know any of that. And then I think that was kind of like the beginning of my, probably later, but it was part of my beginning of fascination with Schwarzenegger. I mean, obviously, the big intro for me was T2 Judgment Day, but yeah. So it's just childhood, seeing one of these movies and then finally revisiting it in full, a little bit older, kind of like Jaws. And yeah, I fell in love with Total. It's such a fucked up story. I love it. It's just, it's you know, it goes back to the Philip K. Dick source material, which I think we'll talk about, but it's just, it's fun. It's just a lot of fun. I love this movie.
Yeah, I do too. My first memories of being aware of it were probably the poster. It was just like, I think Schwarzenegger's face in like blue light,
and
like
the pyramid, and like the pyramid, a really cool poster.
Yeah, it's fairly minimalist for what this movie was about.
Right.
And I think my dad must have seen it first because, wouldn't you know it, my dad likes doing voices, and he would be walking around the house going like, "Get your ass back to Mars." And I'm like, I didn't know what it meant, but he would say it. Yeah. And at some point, I think he figured I was ready to watch it, especially because I was way into anything sci-fi, outer space. Like
very similar to my
I was very in the pocket for it.
Yeah.
And I know I must have seen it sometime in my early teens because I know at some point I read the novelization by Piers Anthony, which was like, it was by Piers Anthony, who was like an actual author. Like, he had his own like fantasy series and stuff, but he did the book for this and it was pretty good.
Yeah.
And the book leans even harder into the, like, is it really a dream or not?
Right.
I think the movie mostly comes down on the side of no, although it still is ambiguous. The book was even more ambiguous. So I actually liked it. It was pretty well done. So I had that memory of it. But I remember thinking, this is really fun. It's pretty wild, you know, and out there. But I didn't really appreciate it much because I hadn't yet developed enough to understand kind of how Paul Verhoeven movies work.
Right.
And this is a Paul Verhoeven movie. We did an episode on RoboCop last year.
Yeah.
And like you said, ultraviolet. Like, this is very tame compared to RoboCop. RoboCop is much more violent. But one of the things that
it's got, I mean, I love Verhoeven. I mean, yeah, it's got Ronnie Cox back in as another villain, and he's got and Verhoeven is okay. Now let's go even harder.
And they have Michael Ironside in here looking as much like Kurtwood Smith as possible. So I don't know if they wanted Kurtwood Smith and couldn't get him, but
similar sadistic bad guys.
Yeah, but the point I wanted to make was like, one of the things I've noticed that Paul Verhoeven is really good at is like, he has this density of detail in what he does. So like, you know, while characters are talking, there's a news broadcast on, they're dropping in details and all kinds of stuff that was like zipped right past me as a kid. Some of these things, like you have to watch,
even, you know,
especially in the beginning.
Yeah,
you got to watch this movie like maybe 3 or 4 times where you start noticing, oh, that does come up later.
It comes up later. All the ads for Mars in the beginning. Again, you know, trying to avoid spoilers. We'll get into the story, but you know, towards the beginning when Schwarzenegger's with Sharon Stone and they're living their happy, perfect life, and you know, there's ads on, you know, the rebels, and there's stuff about implantation. There's all that kind of stuff. So. Yeah, and Verhoeven, you know, this was supposed to be a David Cronenberg movie with Richard Dreyfuss, if I'm not mistaken. Which would have been, you know, this was not an explosion on Mars, wasn't a propeller.
I would love to see what the Cronenberg version of this would have looked like. I bet it would have been amazing, just a different movie.
It would have. I mean, just like Videodrome or any of Cronenberg's more Scanners, and again, there's Michael Ironside. I'm sure it would have been fantastic, but I'm glad we got the Verhoeven RoboCop, you know, making fun of politics, making fun of modern news, making fun of culture. I'm glad we got that vision of Verhoeven because I think this is going to be more fun. This is more fun than I think what Cronenberg would have done. I think Cronenberg's would have been a little serious. I think this is a more of a B movie in a sort of an A action shell.
Yeah, this is kind of there was this kind of crazy path that led to ultimately Paul Verhoeven directing this. As you said, so David Cronenberg was picked to direct The Fly, but then he was, I think maybe it might have been contractually obligated or something, but he had to go work on this, and a different director was brought in to do The Fly. That director suffered a terrible family tragedy. His daughter died in an accident or something. And so he bowed out of the picture because the subject matter was too dark. And by that time, Cronenberg had a falling out with the producers of Total Recall, which ultimately led to him being available to do The Fly, and then they had to replace him with Verhoeven. So we got two. I'm so glad we live in the timeline where we got the Cronenberg Fly and the Verhoeven Total Recall.
Yeah, it landed perfectly. The Fly is one of my favorite sci-fi horror movies. It was a great year for 1986. That was Aliens and The Fly. Those were the two big ones, and those were, I think, the highest grossing. But
and the biggest, and not just the highest grossing in terms of numbers, but just gross. Straight up gross.
That's makeup by Chris Wallace, who would go on to direct The Fly 2, and that was, that's a whole other.
We did do an episode on The Fly way at the beginning of the podcast. I would redo. I'd be happy to redo it.
I'd love to revisit that with you.
All right, maybe
talk about it because I love The Fly, and it's a Brooks Films. It's great. It's
all
great.
Right. So we'll put that on the calendar for a possible retread of that episode, because I had no idea what I was doing with this podcast back then. So I'd be happy to actually do it correctly.
But now, it's good to know now, because the more
we can implant the memory of having done that podcast correctly.
That's right. And you could implant, and then you could wonder later whether or not it's a dream, and then talk to it about Maria Shriver, because we're going to get back together. I know we're going to get back together. It's going to take a while. But I'm going to show a Total Recall, and maybe she'll get in the mood to have some passionate lovemaking. You never know.
Yeah. So you mentioned Philip K. Dick, which is where it started with this memory implant idea.
Same as Blade Runner with the wonky, funky title.
And this was before. I mean, yes, Blade Runner is a Philip K. Dick story originally called "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?" This started life as a story by Philip K. Dick called "We Can Remember It For You Wholesale."
Yeah, I think Total Recall is a better title.
Total Recall is a better title. Philip K. Dick is one of those writers that I think, I don't know how good his stuff actually is, but he has lots of really good concepts that get like this. So there was a movie that was going to be a sequel to this that got spun off into what became Minority Report, which was also based on a Philip K. Dick story.
Right. Okay. And that in and of itself, I think everything ended up where it needed to be, and Spielberg created a masterpiece with that film. That's I love Minority Report. So everybody. It's funny, like you said, Philip K. Dick has these concepts, and like you said, maybe they're not as memorable as the film version, but they seem to pick the right directors. There seems to be a certain fate or happenstance where directors end up with the right projects, and they create these visions that stand the test of time. And Total Recall, for better or worse, is one of them, because the other thing is that Total Recall is fucking funny. Okay, we'll get into it, but it is fucking it is so funny. There are parts of it, I'm still wander around my apartment and just quote that, I can't believe you're jealous of a dream, and what the fuck did I do wrong, and all that stuff. We'll get into it. But,
this does lean heavily on Schwarzenegger has a great sense of humor and a lot of charm and charisma. It's an incredible amount of that, and the movie is all the better for that, because that is Verhoeven's other secret, which is like RoboCop is funny too. It's like gleefully like horrifying, but also sadistic, but also funny. And you need that, because somehow like giving it that extra ingredient makes all of the other elements of the movie pop. And it's the same for this one.
Mm-hmm. It gives it a sort of like an otherworldly comic book feel where you can get away with more, I think. Like the beginning of RoboCop, where, Ed 209 just shoots Mr. Kenny so many times. I mean, aside from Peter Weller getting blown to bits, but you sort of need that. And then just the reaction to it, like, Dick, I'm very disappointed, just disappointed, things like that. That's Verhoeven humor. And I think you need the humor, like you said, to sort of massage the horrible thing that you just saw. It's just recover from it with humor. It was the same with Jaws. I mean, Jaws has a great sense of humor. So, not to say Total Recall is Jaws, but the humor was really important in this one. And yes, you have Arnold. So Arnold has these amazing reactions to a lot of different things. And yes, Arnold does his, all that kind of stuff and all these kind of things. But you need the the humor to kind of dilute some of the awful stuff that you see in the movie. So
yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned like comic books, because this has a very pulp comic feel, not in like
it's like a graphic novel or something.
Yeah, it's not quite like this. You'd think this would be more like influenced by something like Tim Burton's Batman because of when this came out, but like the comic book look of this, it's more Flash Gordon kind of comic book, like Mars. Just the way they render Mars, like it doesn't look the way it looks in NASA photos.
It's
over the top, like blood red skies and like the mutants, the cars, all of the special effects, the makeup. There's a as you said, exactly a flash to it.
Yeah, I mean, it has, those sets were built in Mexico, so the sets were very elaborate. And I had a great time in Mexico. It's not the first time I was there. I was in Puerto Vallarta shooting Predator. Welcome back, Arnold. No, I need to shut up with that. But it's like it's gonna keep happening, guys. I know. It's like I'm blowing my wad too early. But yeah, the sets were elaborate. The production design was elaborate. The visual effects, while some of them, there are a few shots I have a problem with, were I think DreamQuest images. And the visual effects were also, I think for the time, they were fantastic. I mean, I think it looks amazing in high def. And the makeup effects by Rob Bottin. So you have, and it's not the first time we talked about Rob Bottin, but everything was kind of a big budget spectacle, which is what it needed. And it did have sort of that comic book feel in its own way. And I think that brought it to life, in addition to the story, which stands the test of time. So
yeah, and then the last person I wanted to highlight before we get into the beat by beat is Jerry Goldsmith. Once again,
amazing score,
an amazing score by him. This is a great sci-fi score.
Yes.
Like it kind of has this like pounding. Like the main theme, sort of like RoboCop does, although that's Basil Polidorus.
That's the late Basil Polidorus, who also did Conan.
Yeah, but it's a great score. It fits right alongside that one, and
especially those opening credits, which we'll get into. But that opening theme, I mean, this is one of my favorites. I'll listen to this occasionally. Is those opening credit and here we are talking about Goldsmith and Bottin again after Inner Space, which was so much fun.
Well, that was kind of fun to see their names pop up in the credits because after having worked on that podcast with you, like, oh look, there they are, these two guys.
Yeah, hire the best.
It shows. Like the movie is again, like everyone involved in this is great, and everyone is giving it all they've got, and it's. As you said, like not only does it have all of these like satirical elements, it's got a great sci-fi story, but it is just unrelentingly fun. And that was my takeaway of like, I'm having so much fun watching this. Every minute of it is just, a party. I'm teeing it up for you.
It's a guy. It's a guy's. Yeah. Oh no, I'm not. No,
you don't want to take the bait.
I don't. Not yet. Not yet. Right. I know what you're talking about with the party. It's two references to it, but no, it is. And I think with all great films, and I'm not saying Total Recall is an Oscar film. I'm saying I would say it's a great film in that it's just a really well structured machine, kind of like the other films we've talked about. And to do that, you can't forget about the fun. It is true. You can't forget about the fun. I mean, any movie, you have to have a sense of fun and be entertained. If you're not entertained, then you're not doing it right. And I won't talk about Gladiator 2.
But this is, if you talk about a popcorn movie, this is like 4 buckets of popcorn.
Well, exactly. And that's why I said it's kind of like a B movie. Like in a way, RoboCop was a kind of like a wonky B movie in sort of an A movie shell. You have all the ingredients of spectacle and you have all the big budget special effects that the time can offer, but at the same time, it's got sort of a pulpy B movie sort of comic. I mean, RoboCop, Jesus Christ, even the line, here's something that the kids only read about in, their parents only read about in comic books, and they know what they're doing. They know that it has to have that sort of fun comic book feel to sort of succeed on that level.
Yep. All right. Well, let's do this. Let's remember it for everybody wholesale here. So we get our Carol Co. logo and the red titles of the movie against that, just kick-ass score from Jerry Goldsmith.
Oh, it kicks in. It's like it's like its own like Star Wars or something. I can't explain. It's got its own like space themed sort of situation. Then Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it's like, oh shit, here we go.
The titles are like kind of red and glowy. It's almost a little bit of the
Superman.
I was just gonna say Superman. Yeah, you're right.
Effects.
Yep. And so we see two astronauts on Mars. They're just walking near a canyon. They're holding hands. We can see it's Arnold and a female who will later come to know as Mel. And they fall down a hill by accident. And Arnold breaks his.
Arnold starts his first.
Yep, we get that's the first line of the movie.
I'm sorry, I won't interrupt him. Yeah.
Yeah. The first line of the movie is
Yeah, it really is.
as he breaks his helmet and begins to suffocate in the near vacuum that is Mars's atmosphere.
This scared the fuck out of me as a 10-year-old. I'm not going to lie. This is one of the reasons, I was kind of a big wimp as a kid. I mean, this is one of the reasons that I only visited it later, saw it in full. And, when I got into Fangoria and horror movies, I was ready to go. I was like, all right, well, now I just want to see all of it. But yes, his head, yeah.
It's gross. Yeah, they do this several times. Yeah, his eyeballs bugging out and like his face puffing up.
It's so nasty and it's well done. I mean, those Rob Bottin. I mean, those effects are just fantastic.
Right, but it's a nightmare. It is a dream.
There, I did it for you.
He wakes up next to Sharon Stone, and this is kind of the first thing I can remember her being in.
Yeah.
And because of that, maybe audiences at the time would not know the rule with Sharon Stone in a movie, which
has to be Nick. Yep.
No, I was gonna say never ever trust her in a movie.
Never. Well, never trust. Yeah, I mean, she. So a little bit about Sharon Stone, but she had been bit parts in movies like the Academy Award-winning Police Academy for Citizens on Patrol. She was the love interest in that film. I think we all know the cultural impact Police Academy 4 has had on America. It's one of the best.
Sure. Yep.
But I mean, it's no Jaws 3D, but she had bit parts in movies. This was a little more lengthy for Miss Stone, and as far as I'm concerned, even Basic Instinct, I think this is the smokiest she's ever looked, as far as I'm concerned. So.
Yeah, she is designed to be, right? We're supposed to be tempted by her.
We are.
And we
forbidden fruit.
Well, she interrogates him a little bit on like, oh, you're having the dream again. We find out this is a recurring dream about this brunette girl who he claims I don't know who she is or why I'm dreaming about her.
I can't believe you're jealous of a dream.
Right. And so we get playful banner. He says, oh, you're the girl of my dreams. They are playing with already the concept of dreams.
You're going back, you dream about her every night. He's like, I'm always back here in the morning. Mm-hmm. It's great.
Yep.
It's fantastic.
And this transitions from sexy banter to breakfast. And this is what I was talking about with Verhoeven. Like, we've got a news broadcast on behind us, which brings in several bits of key information.
And more violence last night on Mars, where terrorists demanding independence once again halted the extraction of turbinium ore. Watto and his so-called Freedom Brigade claim credit for this latest bombing, which attempted to reopen the sealed-off pyramid mines. Mars military restored order with minimal use of force, and all damage to the strategic facility was repaired within hours. With one mine already closed, Mars Administrator Velos Cohaagen vowed that troops would be used if necessary to keep production at full capacity. At the press conference today...
No wonder you're having nightmares. You're always watching the news.
Lori?
Doug?
Let's do it.
Do what?
Move to Mars.
Honey, why do you have to spoil a perfectly wonderful morning?
Just think about it.
Sweetheart, we've been through this a million times. You'd hate it on Mars. It's dry, it's ugly, it's boring. I mean, really. Revolution could break out there any second.
Cohaagen says it's just a few extremists.
You believe him?
One, there's political unrest on Mars. Mm-hmm. They're rebels, or sometimes referred to as terrorists, demanding independence, which is interfering with the extraction of turbinium ore. This is like the economic MacGuffin that everybody's concerned with.
It's kind of like Police on Strike and RoboCop, and it's kind of like, later sort of the propaganda of like Starship Troopers. It's a lot of political unrest, kind of like you said, it's like a Verhoeven sort of staple.
Right. And we find out the rebels have forced or are against the opening of these pyramid mines, which have been closed. The leader of the rebels is named Quado, who no one knows what he looks like, or they can't find him.
He's Banksy.
He's Banksy, yeah, exactly. And the leader of Mars, the governor, whatever you want to call his title.
President, I think.
President, perhaps. Vilos Cohaagen.
Oh, yeah.
Has said he's going to use martial law if needed to keep the economic machinery running.
Yeah.
That's a lot of exposition.
That's a ton of it.
And he efficiently drops that in just the background of this scene as Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sharon Stone, which their names are Douglas Quaid and Laurie Quaid.
Laurie, yeah. Look, it's an American name, Douglas Quaid. I had to do with it too because I was a big fan of Dennis Quaid and all the cocaine he did. And I said, maybe I could do cocaine on this set, just like call myself Douglas Quaid.
Yeah, in the book, the character's last name is Quail. I'm not sure why they changed it to Quaid.
They did change it. Yeah, I don't know. I love Douglas Quaid. I think that's a badass hero name.
It's a good name. It's just funny to me that, again, you've got Schwarzenegger.
Always has an American name in movies.
Right, yeah. No one in Austria is named Douglas Quaid.
He's always John. He's sometimes they try to give him a little Austrian, like an Eraser. He's John Kruger. I'm Kruger is the last name, but he's usually John. He's usually Jack. It's usually, But I like Douglas Quaid, a very sophisticated American Austrian name.
Yeah.
Sure.
The other thing that we hear is that supposedly the reason that the mines have been closed, there's rumors that of alien technology that was found in the mines. This is all just dropped in as if it was inconsequential background stuff. It's not. All of it is important.
It's spoon fed to you in a way. It's kind of like fed to you like a dream, and then it comes to life later. So it's sort of like implanted in a way.
Right. And you could be forgiven for not paying attention to this because in theory you're watching, again, Doug and Laurie talk.
Right.
And he's off to work. And he says, I want to do something with my life, be somebody. He has ambitions. And she says, oh, you are somebody, the man you love, or the man I love. Have a nice day. Yeah. And he walks out the door and she gives this weird look.
Yeah. Can't trust anybody. There's a lot of those looks in it. It's very, she's a femme fatale, but hey, we won't get to that just yet, but we did.
Yeah,
she's got that look.
You can already not trust her.
You can't. Well, a lot of people give that look later. They sort of his friend with, I guess we'll get to the construction worker. They all have weird looks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the movie definitely is playing with you literally can't trust any other people.
Right.
So he goes off to work. He's a construction worker. He's jackhammering with his giant arms.
Man, you got to be impressed by how ripped he is. But anyway, did we miss something?
I did skip something, which is his journey to work is also important because he takes the metro to work.
Yeah.
And we see a couple of things we're going to see later. One in particular is this CGI skeleton thing where it's like an X-ray that everybody goes through so they can scan you for weapons before you get on.
It was on the cover of my Cinefex magazine. Was I believe it was that might have been Toys, but anyway, it was
a big deal at the time.
Yeah, it was a big deal, and it's really well done CGI. This is early CGI here, but it was groundbreaking, and I think audiences when they saw it must have been pretty blown away because when I saw it as a kid, I was like, holy shit, that's awesome.
Right, and on the metro on the way to work is where we get our commercial for Recall.
Would you like to ski Antarctica? But you're snowed under with work? Do you dream of a vacation at the bottom of the ocean? But you can't float the bill? Have you always wanted to climb the mountains of Mars? But now you're over the hill? Then come to Recall Incorporated, where you can buy the memory of your ideal vacation cheaper, safer, and better than the real thing. So don't let life pass you by. Call Recall for the memory of a lifetime.
And it's what Recall is you can go if you can't afford to take a real trip to Mars, you go to this place and they will implant a memory in your brain of a two-week vacation or whatever you want of going to Mars or wherever, whatever else you want.
So brilliant. Yeah.
This is the concept that makes the movie run. And again, in a career of amazing, just sci-fi ideas, hats off to Philip K. Dick for this one.
Yeah, exactly.
So he goes to the construction site and he's got this friend, Harry, his coworker. And
who's been in every movie.
This guy is just like if you were to take a Goomba from Mario Brothers and turn him into a human, like this guy is, he's just like, he has the shape of a Goomba.
Now, are we talking about the 1993 masterpiece Super Mario Brothers?
I meant the actual
Hopper?
NES. But
the actual NES. Okay. I was just asking.
He's like, it looks like, he's a stubby guy.
Yeah, he needs to be, he's he could have been in The Rocketeer as a mafioso or something. Like, hey, The Rocketeer, we got to kill The Rocketeer.
Yeah, he's been in a million things. I can't think of his name.
Well, I know he was in, goddamn, what's the City Slickers, for crying out loud. He was a guy, he was like another construction worker talking about something. Anyway, yeah.
He's just got that energy.
He's got that look.
Yep. And Doug asks him about, hey, should I go to Recall? And Harry's like, no, don't do it. They'll mess with your brain. Yeah. Cut to, he's at Recall. Like,
yes.
This did not take.
Yeah. Not at all.
He's too curious. So he goes to Recall. I love there's this receptionist there in the front desk, and she's got these press-on nails, but they like digitally change color. She taps them with a little wand, and the color changes.
Yeah, everything is it's got a lot of really cool concepts throughout the film. Actually, a lot of gimmicks, a lot of gadgets, a lot of things like that. It's a really cool. They don't really, like you said, Verhoeven's very detail oriented, so everything has this fantastical sort of look, and they always keep kind of surprising you with little gadgets, so you're never not entertained. I mean, it's constantly entertaining with everything going on, that waiting room especially.
Right. And he's immediately met by Bob McLean, who is
no relation to John.
He runs the place basically.
Yeah, and he's a shit-eating grin, and he's not. Yeah, he's a little too clean.
Yeah, and he tries to sell him, don't go to Mars, go to, in your memory, go to, Saturn, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Everyone likes that, and Doug insists, I want to go to Mars.
And Sharon Stone wanted him to go to Saturn also.
Right, but his mind, for some reason, is lingering on Mars. That's
He's
what
got
an
obsession. Yeah, and he does have an obsession. Something's driving him. This is well done as a character motivation. The one thing that does drive it is they really do a good job of him having that obsession. It does play well in the movie, so it's not like there are a lot of action movies that come out, you don't really give a shit what they're after or what they want, you just go to see the fight sequences. This one, it is a character. It is actually, despite all the humor, it is actually quite character driven.
Right, and he tries to sell him on the benefits of Recall. So unlike a real vacation, no one ever loses their luggage, nothing goes wrong.
Right.
But there's an add-on you can purchase, which is, why not take a vacation from yourself? As long as you're going to have this experience, don't be Doug Quaid, construction worker. You could be Douglas Quaid, this or that, or secret agent. And that's the one he seizes on. Yeah, I want to be a secret agent.
Don't bullshit me.
Exactly.
Come on. No, he's like, I'm sorry, I had to do it.
Yeah. No, that's it. And like, what, again, like, such a great setup. Like, okay, he's going to have this memory implanted of going to Mars as a secret agent. Mm-hmm. And that will cast doubt on everything that happens from the next scene when he actually gets in the chair.
Yes, it's really awesome, and it's really twisty, and the plot is starting to twist around. So yeah, they kind of get you in quick too. Like, there's no real waste of editing or anything. You're just like, once again.
Yeah, I think screenwriting 101 would be like, he rejects this call to adventure, goes home, thinks about it, but he can't let it go, and then goes back.
Yeah, no, this one you just go right in, and it's kind of like, all right, here we go. Yep. Like, it's good.
Right, he gets in the chair. And like, I love the look of the Recall chair. Yeah, we'll see this more than once, but yeah, it's like this. It's this huge like computer deck, and then this like almost like an MRI machine, but like with this like galaxy of lights
like
around it.
Light. It's like something, I don't know. It's like something out of Captain EO.
Yes,
or something, in the best compliment possible. But it's really cool.
Right. So he gets in the chair. They inject something into him, and they start asking him these like questions about,
how do you like your women?
How do you like your women? Yeah.
Sleazy, demure, brunette. He's trying to pick the right one. You got to find the right girl when you're going to go to Mars as a secret agent. You better have the right girl, right?
Right. And he gives this description, as you said, sleazy, demure, brunette, athletic body type,
sexual
or whatever.
Orientation, hetero.
Yep. And so they make this. You can see this image on the screen. It looks like the girl we saw before.
Right. At which point it's like blurring out. So that's another really cool way they did it, is that he's starting to fade, but like he sees that the girl from his dreams.
Right. And we move from this into the front office where McClane is selling another customer, but immediately there's a flurry. Something is going wrong.
Right.
And Quaid is basically having this like semi-seizure in the chair, and he's fighting against all of the technicians and stuff.
He's having a total meltdown.
Get off you! You blew my cover!
What the fuck is going on here? You can't do a simple goddamn double implant.
It's not my fault we hit a memory cap.
They'll be here any minute. They kill you
What the
all!
hell is he talking about?
Oh, no!
Let me go!
Mr. Quaid, try to calm down.
My name is not Quaid. You untie me
Hurry,
now!
grab his leg!
Untie me!
Hold it down, quick!
Let me go now!
Are you all right? Listen to me. He has been going on and on about Mars. He has really been there.
Use your head, you dumb bitch. He's just acting out the secret agent portion of his ego trip.
I'm afraid that's not possible.
Why not?
Because we haven't implanted it yet.
Yeah, they tried to say he's having some sort of like an embolism or something from the procedure.
And what is he saying? They'll be any minute. They'll kill you all.
Right.
Go, stop! Get the fuck off me. Yeah.
Well, they've set this up because earlier there was some like talk about like, is this procedure safe? Like I heard somebody else got like had a stroke in the chair and died or something.
Yeah, he says that's the other thing from earlier is his friend Harry at work. He says don't do it. Yeah, the guy tried to this other guy tried to do it, nearly got himself lobotomized, and Schwarzenegger was like no shit. And so now now it comes back to in the waiting room when he was talking to McClane, he's like, what about the guy you lobotomized? Did he get a refund? And McClane sort of smiles and like, don't, forget it. That's ancient history.
Right.
Or whatever.
That doesn't happen anymore.
No,
yeah,
exactly.
So yeah, you could believe at this point that is what's happening, that he's,
right.
The procedure has gone wrong somehow.
Which plays again and again. There is that lobotomized thing, the lobotomy thing that we'll get into it, but it's like, there is that feedback that keeps coming back. That becomes sort of important. So
well, and McClane rushes in and says, "Oh, this is just part of his secret agent fantasy that he ordered."
He's
and the
living his dream, his implantation.
Right, and the text says, "I haven't implanted that yet," which again, like interesting. Like he's maybe they say they hit a memory cap. In other words, this guy's already had his memory fucked with, and they didn't know that before.
Exactly. And I have to say this, because the other big action movie that came out that year that I'm a huge fan of is Die Hard 2. The other Christmas movie is Die Hard 2, right? And what I love about Die Hard, they're both 1990 movies. What I love about Die Hard 2 and this movie is they're just so foul and everybody's so vile. Like, it's like, in Die Hard 2, it's like, looks like C4 in the motherfucker's arm. Then, like, in this one, McClane is like, use your head, you dumb bitch. It's just like the directors, which were Rennie Harlan and Paul Verhoeven, were just like, okay, I want you to be as mean as possible and aggressive as possible to the actors. And, like, there's just so many, like, F-bombs in 1990. Like, 1990 was, like, an aggressive year for action. And that, so I digress. But yeah, just McClane is like, use your head, you dumb bitch. He's just like telling his assistant she's a dumb bitch. It's I don't know.
It's very Verhoeven. Yeah,
It's
super
very
blunt.
over the top, like Clarence Boddicker, the way what he says to people. Yeah,
right.
So,
and
it's great.
Yeah, I mean, throughout this, like Arnold is screaming. He says, "My name isn't Quaid." Like,
my name is not Quaid.
All this stuff.
Yeah, that's great.
And so McClane, they eventually they sedate him, but they have to inject him like 20 times with the syringe to get him to go out.
It's so over the top.
Yeah, and so the plan is, look, just put him in a cab, or wipe his memory of ever coming here. And just drop him off somewhere.
If anybody calls, no one's and if anybody checks in, no one's ever heard of Douglas Quaid.
Right. So he wakes up in a Johnny cab, which I love this. So
here's the return of Robert Picardo once again. Inner Space and now to Total
Is that
Recall.
who he is? The voice is?
It's Picardo. Oh. It's actually it's Rob Bottin did a sculpture of Picardo. That's Robert Picardo.
Is it his voice?
I believe it is his voice.
Oh, interesting.
But it's definitely his face.
Okay, so
anyway,
because the face I was getting was more Don Knotts.
Oh, really?
It's got kind of or howdy doody almost. So it's this is a self-driving car with an AI that talks to you and drives it. But to make this palatable to the masses, they've got this like the upper torso of like a bellhop puppet that talks to you and drives it.
An old cabbie.
Yeah.
He's like an old cabbie. Yeah.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
And he's like, how did I get here? He's like, the door opened and you got in.
Yeah.
Like it's an AI. It's stupid.
And he rolls, but I think he rolls his eyes though. Like at one point, he's like, I'm sorry, could you please rephrase the question? It's like he does an eye roll, but no, how did I finally get in here? And that'll be the beginning of Schwarzenegger's annoyance with the Johnny Cab.
Right. And so the Johnny Cab drops him off, at the metro station, and he bumps into Harry. And Harry's like, how was your trip to Mars? And he's like, wait, I went to Recall?
Yeah.
I
did?
Yep. And, Harry says, I'll buy you a drink. But he pulls a gun.
Right here.
Thank you for taking Johnny Cab.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed the ride.
Hey, Quaid. Harry. How was your trip to Mars?
What trip?
You went to Recall, remember?
I did?
Yeah, you did. I told you not to, but you went anyway.
What are you, my father?
Come on, I'll buy you a drink.
Listen, I'm already late. Thank you very much, but...
Hey!
Come right down. Come on, okay, bring him down here. Hurry. Come on, move it. Let's go get that drink.
What the hell is going on? What the fuck did I do wrong? Tell me!
You blabbed, Quaid! You blabbed about Mars!
Are you crazy? I don't even know anything about Mars!
You should have listened to me, Quaid. I was there to keep you out of trouble.
Harry, you're making a big mistake. You got me mixed up with somebody else.
Pal. You got yourself mixed up with somebody.
And it's like, what the fuck? And immediately he's like, you blabbed about Mars. You weren't supposed to talk about
He's
it.
got all these thugs waiting for him.
Yeah, it's not just
it's him and it's a bunch of thugs, and and one of my favorite lines, and this is a meme, and this has been done for various things, but just Harry, what is going on? What the fuck did I do wrong?
Mm-hmm.
So that is just, I love that line, and it's one of my favorite cinematic lines. Again, not Oscar worthy, but I think it could be.
Yeah, and what I love is that so Schwarzenegger he proceeds to kick all of their asses, and they do a good job of it because obviously this is not Schwarzenegger's first rodeo. He's a big action star by now.
Yeah.
And so we're used to seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger kick ass, but I think the movie does a good job of selling this guy as as far as he knows, he's a construction worker.
Right.
And even if he's big and muscly, this is fairly precise in the way he dispatches 6 guys.
And I was actually talking about this with my co-writer because again, we're working on something similar with a main character who kind of goes back to killing and finds that he's good at it and gets repulsed, and that goes back to Death Wish, where I think Charles Bronson's first night, not to segue too much, but his first night out, he was just an architect. But, after what happens to his family and what these bad guys do, he goes out one night and he shoots these guys. And then if he's so repulsed, he goes home and he throws up. And that's very powerful. And so we kind of want to do something similar with this upcoming script. But again, this is a first for Schwarzenegger where he's got a vulnerability where it's kind of like we're used to seeing him just rip people in half and shoot them with big guns. But in this one, yeah, what the fuck's going on? For all I know, I'm this person. And now he's totally repulsed. The way he runs home and everything. So.
Yeah, I mean, and he doesn't just, I shouldn't say, he doesn't just knock these guys out.
Oh, man. Well,
he snaps their necks.
This is, when I was a kid, this was too much. This is actually where I said, I'm out. I think this is where I said I'm out as a 10-year-old watching at somebody's, at a friend's house or whatever. I'm done. And no, he rips these guys apart. I mean, he fucks them up and he kills them brutally, and he's got the blood on his hands, and it's wild. It's a wild, when you look back and you see it now, it's like, Jesus, this guy, construction worker, my ass, there's something else going on here.
And there's a nice Verhoeven-y flourish here in that when he flees the scene, the shot kind of pans out a little bit, and you can see more people milling around because it's a subway station.
Right.
No reaction. right? No one around is like running like, oh my God, I just heard gunfire.
Yeah.
They're just, this is, classic Verhoeven. Like society is so horrible that this doesn't spike
kind of
their
like the
concern.
end of RoboCop when he finally shoots Dick Jones and he falls out the window and everybody's like, good job, nice shooting, son. Just like, oh, there's blood everywhere. Dick Jones just fell out a window. It was like, oh, good job. Yep. Something about it I love though.
Yep. When's lunch, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So Lori we're back at home with Lori, and she is practicing with a hologram. This is like, they sell those like mirrors that you can exercise in front of now. Like, it's basically that. It's a holographic tennis instructor. Yeah. But Doug bursts in. He tells her to turn off all the lights, and he immediately tells her what's happening. Spies want to kill me because I've been to Mars.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, you went to Recall? What the hell are you doing?
Those assholes at Recall have fucked up your brain. You're having paranoid delusion. You call this a delusion? And he's got the... Anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's it.
I love quoting this movie.
No, it's great because like she calls them like brain butchers and stuff, and he says, "Well, it wasn't a total delusion because I got blood all over my hands."
Right.
Where'd that come from?
And then her mood is changing and all that. She's like, Doug, I better call a doctor.
Right.
No, don't call anybody.
And so who she calls is Michael Ironside.
Yeah, you see him pop up on the screen for the first time. So.
Right. We have no idea who this is. This is a character named Richter who will spend a lot of time with.
He looks like you said, he's got the Boddicker look. But I love the way Richter looks in this movie, by the way, just clad in black. He's just such an asshole.
Well, Clarence Boddicker's look was meant to kind of mimic
Goebbels.
Or Eichmann, or one of them.
Maybe the guy with the glasses. He was supposed to. It was kind of like Tote in Raiders.
Oh, Himmler.
Yeah,
Nazi, a Nazi, a very very famous bad Nazi.
Because when he kills him at the end, originally I think they wanted to go right through his glasses, right through his eye when he spikes him at the end of RoboCop. So similar.
Right, similar look.
Yeah.
And Doug comes out of the bathroom and someone is shooting at him.
Yeah.
And after kind of.
Somebody like very slender. I mean, it's not that hard to figure out, but anyway.
No, but there's a bit of confusion here because the person is blurry, but pretty quickly it's Lori who's shooting at him.
Yeah, could have been Madonna. I'm just kidding. And
they have a pretty good fight. She holds her own for a while. She slashes at him with a knife and stuff, cuts him a couple of times.
And, first he takes her down and the gun drops and then the lights go on and then they have a talk before the fight. So I think it's like, that's when she starts to tell him like, what really happened, and then they go back. Or no, maybe I'm losing it.
No, he like tackles her. She kicks him in the balls. Like it's pretty brutal. And then finally, like he subdues her and he's got a gun to her, and she says, "Here's the deal. I'm not your wife. I didn't know you before 6 weeks ago.
I blanked out.
Our whole life was an implant." The agency. This is our first time hearing about the agency.
Right.
Set this up.
Right.
It says your whole life is just a dream. He goes, well, who am I? Beats me. I just work here.
Right.
You should know you were the best assignment I ever had.
Yeah. He's like, I'm flattered. It's coming back. I love that part. He's like, if I'm not me, who the hell am I? And I just wanted Jarrell to appear and say, your name is Kal-El. You are the only son of the planet Krypton. But it didn't happen. Well,
we do get another line that's from that would later be very famous in the movie, which is she's trying to like seduce him a little bit to like for old time's sake or whatever.
Oh yes.
And he sees there's like on his computer screen there's like people assembling below. And he says, "Clever girl."
Clever girl.
Talk. I said talk.
I'm not your wife.
The hell you're not.
I swear to God, I never saw you before 6 weeks ago. Her marriage is just a memory implant.
You think I'm stupid? Remember our wedding?
It was implanted by the agency.
Falling in love?
Implanted.
Our friends, my job, 8 years together. Suppose all of this was implanted too?
The job's real. The agency set it up.
Bullshit.
They erased your identity and implanted a new one. I was written in as your wife so that I could watch you and make sure the erasure took. Sorry, Quaid. Your whole life is just a dream.
Okay, then. If I'm not me, who the hell am I?
Beats me. I just work here. Doug, there's something I want you to know. You were the best assignment I ever had. Really.
I'm honored.
You sure you don't want to? Just for old time's sake? Well, if you don't trust me, you can tie me up.
I didn't know you're so kinky.
Maybe it's time you found out.
Clever girl.
You wouldn't shoot me, would you, Doug? After all we've been through?
Some of it was fun. Nice knowing you.
So in
Jurassic
this case,
Park.
Yeah, so in this case, Sharon Stone, this was before she turned into the Raptor in 1993 for the Clever Girl.
Right.
Yes, Clever Girl.
He knocks her out and just goes, nice knowing you.
Nice knowing you. Yeah, he's going to have more lines about her later.
So he escapes down the stairs, kind of bypassing the goons. Michael Ironside, Richter, comes up to the apartment and finds Lori and interrogates her. And
well, he gives
kisses
her
her
a massive
too.
kiss.
Right.
Like they make out. It's just so awkward to watch. He like comes in and kisses her. I'm like, oh, this guy's like, all right, I guess they have a relationship.
Yeah. And so this leads to like a big chase sequence. He goes to the subway and he's got a gun. So when he goes through the big X-ray, like they see it.
Yeah.
And this is awesome. So he's getting like cornered, right? You've got the police coming in from one side. You've got Richter and the goons coming in from the other.
Yep.
So he just jumps through the screen.
Jumps through it and you see him again instead of a skeleton. So that's a really awesome sequence. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got that music by Goldsmith pumping through the whole thing, by the way. It's not lose track of Goldsmith. Every scene, I mean, Goldsmith is just going. He's got a full sci-fi score here that's really awesome, and like you said, he's got those drums and it's a really awesome score. And I love Goldsmith because he differentiates. I mean, you could feel similar themes, whether it's like Rambo or Inner Space or whatever. Even Supergirl. I'm sorry, but it's actually a really awesome score. But he always manages to give it its own character. So he's great in this score.
Yeah, there's a very Verhoeven-y bit here as the chase continues because they're in this like escalator and it's crowded and he's getting shot at. So Schwarzenegger grabs this poor schmo,
like Mr. Kinney in RoboCop.
Yeah, like becomes a human shield and just riddled with bullets. This poor bystander, as Schwarzenegger uses him as a human shield over and over, and then just chucks the corpse.
He chucks the corpse, and then they make sure to show like people stepping over the corpse, and they make a squishy noise too. So it's just like, it's nasty.
Yeah, he gets away. Eventually, he gets onto the subway and away, and we get a commercial on the subway for real space travel. Basically, he's planting in, you better go to Mars eventually, right? So that's there.
Yeah.
But we cut back to the apartment where the bad guys are kind of regrouping, and Richter gets a call from Cohaagen on Mars.
Yep.
And Richter is too emotional. Basically, he's throughout the movie. He's basically angry that this guy, was porking his old lady all this time.
Right. He's got a backstory of why he hates the guy. And Cohaagen is always putting him down throughout the whole movie. He just constantly puts down Richter. Yeah, he has that pass, and he says we should have killed Quaid on Mars, which is an awesome line because you realize that there's this whole other thing going on that you don't know. And he also says, he plants the title, but it's done well. He's like, he knows too much, and pretty soon he'll have total recall. It's fucking awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Meaning he'll remember whatever it is he's not supposed to remember, which is why his memory was wiped. And Cohaagen says, no, I don't kill him. I want him alive. For reimplantation. So I guess we can give him back his old memories.
I want my friend back. Well, anyway, I'm sorry we're skipping, but it's pretty funny. He's like, look, I just want my buddy back. Okay, come on.
Right. Cohaagen is playing a long game here that Richter is not in on, which creates a lot of tension that could probably have been resolved if Cohaagen just explained what the plan was.
Yeah, but
to his goon.
You wouldn't have a movie. There's a lot of.
Well, also Richter's not reliable. That's the problem.
Well, he's hot headed and he's not. Yeah, he's a loose cannon. He's a hot-headed loose cannon.
Right. So Quaid runs out into the street. Richter and company are still pursuing.
Yeah.
And he goes into a bathroom and he gets a video call randomly from someone who basically says, hey, if you want to live, don't hang up. Follow my direction. There's a bug in your skull. Mm-hmm. So put a wet towel around your head to dampen their ability to track you, which works. Because we see there's Richter and he's got this guy with glasses who's his flunky.
He's one of the bad guys from Beverly Hills Cop. by the way. So he's one of the henchmen in Beverly Hills Cop. So I always think of him from that movie and this movie because he's got the glasses in both movies.
Right. And so they, I love this bit. We see like the signal is like disrupted by him putting the towel on. And the guy continues and he says, look, I'm dropping, you can look out the window. You see me there by the phone booth?
Yep.
I'm going to drop this suitcase here. You come and get it. And this is his great moment.
Yeah.
So he walks away, and before Schwarzenegger can get there, this old lady walks up and tries to take this suitcase, and Schwarzenegger has to like rip it out of her hands.
Yeah.
Excuse me, ma'am, but this is mine.
I don't see your name on it.
Someone left it for me.
Go find your own bag.
Excuse me, ma'am, but I need it.
Fuck you, you asshole.
This,
Old lady foul humor. Let's just go for it.
But yeah, I love it. She's got this like finders keepers mentality.
Excuse me, but I need it. And then and she says, "Fuck you, you asshole." And then he's kind of like,
he bows.
He bows to her. He's like, "Come on, I found it first. I need it."
Yep. Very funny. I love that.
It's Verhoeven land. I mean, that's one of the fun things about this movie. It's just it's ultra violent and it's funny.
Yeah, I love that he gets into the cab, another Johnny cab, and the cab is, where do you want to go? Schwarzenegger doesn't know. He's always just telling it, just drive anywhere. And he's like, and I'm
not familiar with that address.
Yeah, absolute like classic AI comedy. Like that it's still funny in 2020 fucking 5.
Hello, I'm Johnny Cab. Where can I take you tonight?
Drive.
Would you please repeat the destination?
Oh, anywhere, just go. Go!
Please state a street and number.
Shit.
I'm not familiar with that address. Would you please repeat the destination?
We can't autocorrect and everything else.
As advanced, the kind of message is as advanced as technology is, it still fucks up.
Right. And so his solution is not to just give it any address. Tell it to drive you to Disneyland. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
But he doesn't. He just rips the base.
He goes, and he grabs the goddamn thing and pulls it out of there.
Yeah, he rips out the bellhop robot and just takes over the controls himself. But the bellhop robot is still active, so it's like screaming in like fear. It's really
fasten your seatbelts. It's in the back, it's having the time of its life. That automated bastard.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Yeah, it's great. Great chase.
So he escapes, and he parks, and he gets out, and then the cab does this crazy shit where it's like it says the fare is $18, and he goes, sue me, dickhead.
Yeah.
And then the robot just goes, what? And then the car drives, tries to run him over, hits a wall, and explodes in an enormous fireball.
And it explodes huge, and I think at the time that was like a record explosion. I can't remember. They had some explosion on Total Recall that was like a massive explosion, and that was one of them. I think it was that one. But yeah, it's good. Sue me, dickhead.
Yeah, it's an explosion that is way disproportional to we've seen cars explode in movies before. This is huge in a way that suggests that is the cab part of the conspiracy? I don't know.
Yeah, or is the cab made of a gasoline can? Or, it would go on for many movies like Mission Impossible 2. Just hilarious moments where things explode that have nothing to, or Face Off or Con Air, all those guys.
In the future, the most aerodynamic cabs are made of C4. That's why.
That is why. Right. So they're always made to explode should you get caught in an action sequence and you want something to look cool.
Right.
Correct.
So Doug has a chance to kind of hole up and regroup, and he opens up the suitcase, and it's got red money in it. I love that, these red Mars bucks. That's
which is still available on eBay. I'm not kidding. There was so much of that money that there's so much of that shit on eBay. You can find the Mars money props on eBay. There's dollar bills or whatever, and I think it has Cohaagen's face on it or something. But yeah.
Awesome.
Yep, you can.
That's a good gift for the right person.
Yeah, let's buy some.
So there's fake IDs for the Mars mines.
Yep.
There's a couple of weird gadgets in there. First he pulls out this weird looking spindly thing. We'll find out what that does in a second.
Yes, we will.
And then what looks like a watch that makes when you put it on,
it tests it.
Yeah, it's awesome. It makes a holographic duplicate of yourself.
That's so funny. Oh man, I can't wait to get to that part later.
Yeah, they keep they do a good job of they don't use that thing until the very end of the movie. It's
very
great.
James Bond in a way. It is a gadget heavy movie. It's really awesome.
Right. But the most important thing in the case is another case, which has a screen inside of it and a recording from Hauser, which is apparently who Doug Quaid really is.
It's his former self hidden inside, but he says, "Howdy, stranger. This is Hauser."
Howdy, stranger. This is Hauser. If things have gone wrong, I'm talking to myself, and you've got a wet towel wrapped around your head. Now, whatever your name is, get ready for the big surprise. You are not you. You're me. No shit. All my life I worked for Mars Intelligence. I did Cohaagen's dirty work. But a few weeks ago I met somebody. A woman. And I learned a few things. Like, I've been playing for the wrong team. All I can do now is try to make up for it. See, there's enough shit in here to fuck Cohaagen good. Now, unfortunately, if you're listening to this, that means that he has got to me first. And here comes the hard part, old buddy. Now it is all up to you. Great.
And then he goes on this whole, spiel and tells him about the plot. But go ahead, Doug.
You're not you. You're me.
You are not you. You're me. No shit.
Right.
That's great.
And so while he's doing this one, we get a quick shot of the bad guys who have picked up on the giant fireball and are headed in their direction.
Yeah.
But
funny.
Hauser continues. He says, you worked for Cohaagen and you did his dirty work. And but then I met a woman who just turned my head and made me realize I've been playing for the wrong team. And he did this to me to prevent me from telling everyone what I found out.
Right.
So now it's all up to you.
Right.
Put this thing in your nose, the spindly thing.
And stick it up your nose. Don't worry, it's self-guiding. Be careful. That's my head too.
Ugh. When you hit the crunch, you're there. So yeah, he shoves this thing up his nose and pulls the bug out, like in a way that there's no way something that big could get in or out of your nose.
Yeah, now this is one of the first of this happens with some of these Arnold movies and makeup effects. I mean, a big one was the Terminator, where there's clearly a prop head as he's dissecting his eye or whatever before he puts the sunglasses on. In the first Terminator, there's a mechanical head and it transforms back to Arnold's head for a shot. And it's not seamless. It is not seamless. Okay. Unfortunately, this is one of the effects I don't love, but for the time, I suppose it was better. It was Rob Bottin's effect, because when he's pulling that thing out, you have the real Arnold making the noises, going. But
when it's halfway
out,
out,
it's a mechanical. Well, it's a mechanical Arnold head the whole time, and then later there's going to be another one we'll get into, but it's not seamless. This is not my favorite effect, but hence here it is. I just want to say that this is not one of my favorites, because it is a mechanical head on screen for a long time.
Yeah, I think they're kind of counting on you just being so horrified by what he's doing and staring at the bright blinking red light inside his nose.
It works as he's pulling it out, but I'm just saying the transition's not seamless. This is always something that's kind of irked me, but again, I love the movie. I don't really care. It's just, it's a shot.
Right. So he pulls it out. Hauser tells him, "Get your ass back to Mars."
Get your ass to Mars.
And don't let me down. At that point, the bad guys invade, but Quaid puts the tracker from his nose inside some kind of a piece of cheese or food, and he gives that to the rats nearby.
Yeah.
So the rats take it and run off, and the bad guys are so focused on the tracker, they don't notice Doug getting away.
And here we go with another disgusting transition, because they finally see the rat that is eating the bug, and so Richter's like, "Shit, give me that," and he just shoots it, and then you just see the rat's blood splatter on the screen of Arnold saying, "Get your ass to Mars, get your ass to Mars, get your ass to Mars." It's like, whoa. 1990, man, just ultra. Like I said, 1990, ultra violence in action movies, but you gotta love it.
So we fade from all of the red blood to the red skies of Mars.
So Spielbergian.
Very Spielbergy.
Yes.
And so we get this vista, and we kind of move from this to
I love that shot.
basically the Mars spaceport, like customs. And everyone's milling about. People are...
The music here is awesome. The other thing is, this is... Now Jerry Goldsmith's score really turns into the sort of the Mars score. There is a difference. Before it was just sort of like chase music and suspense music, but now this is full on. It gets very orchestral, very loud, very, John Williams in scope. It's huge. So as you see this model ship land, I mean, I'm not going to get too into it, but this was an effect that was good by DreamQuest Images when the ship carrying Quaid is landing on Mars. It's such a great transition, and the music is just awesome in that part. Again, Jerry Goldsmith just kills it.
Yeah. I really like this scene because it gives you like, this is your first look at what life is actually like on Mars.
Yeah, and you feel like a visitor. They do it like you're visiting as well for the first time.
Right. You come in through the airport as well.
Exactly.
And yeah, a couple of things are happening simultaneously. One, that Richter is also arriving, and he's being confronted by some guards there who just tell him, "Hey, Cohaagen needs to see you."
Yeah, one of his not superiors, but one of his coworkers or whatever.
Right. And as he is being escorted towards wherever Cohaagen works, another woman, a large woman in a bright yellow outfit and a big old bushel of red hair,
still alive,
she is being questioned about how long she wants to stay on Mars.
She's like Space Roseanne.
We've got a car to take.
So how long do you plan to stay on Mars?
2 weeks. Look at that shit. What the hell's this? The Martians love Cohaagen. They think he's fucking George Washington.
Kill the bastard.
Nobody knows who he is.
Have you brought any fruits or vegetables onto the planet?
2 weeks.
Excuse me?
2 weeks. 2 weeks. Things are getting hotter. It's not just graffiti. The rebels took over the refinery last night. No tribunium is going out. And it gets worse. The rebels don't... Boy, there's no one here.
That's Quaid.
Where?
The woman. Get him. Her.
Arrest that woman!
Get that woman.
With wonderful yellow, is it wearing something Mick Jagger wore in the Dancing in the Street video? Yeah,
it's a
She's
look.
Perfect. It is a definite look.
Yeah, again,
iconic. I would say.
I would say too, and yeah. So 2 weeks, and then he asks her another question. 2 weeks, and that's all she can say.
Richter's kind of getting away, but yeah, the guy is questioning her. Are you carrying any fruits and vegetables onto the planet? 2 weeks, and then she starts to malfunction. And it gets really fucking weird, and this woman starts to have what looks like a seizure.
And Richter notices the scuffle going on here as this, because how can you not? She's drawing all the attention in the room.
I love the looks Ironside is giving, because as they're walking away and she's doing this, he's like just gives this look of disgust and like just weirded out. And I don't know, it's just one moment where he acts like a normal person, like what the fuck is going on here? So
right, and then her head splits open and it's a big old disguise. It's Arnold.
So again, this is my second. I think after this we're okay, but this is the other one when the movie came out, it was fine. The head splitting open is awesome, but the mechanical Arnold head underneath it, not cool. But it's what they could do at the time, with CGI, and there was no CGI. So, but then again, it transitions once the head is completely off. Then it's Arnold again holding the head, and it's not seamless. But anyway, it's okay. It's a very awesome movie, but that's number 2 right there.
Right, so it's another, shoot 'em up, bang bang sequence as they're chasing him.
Well, I'd say it starts with a bang.
Big bang, yeah, because he tosses the head to somebody, and the head just says, what does the head say?
Get ready for a surprise!
That's right.
And it blows up, and that was heavy in the marketing. So, Total Recall, when I was a kid, I was like, is this woman like a big part of the movie? And then I looked at the back cover of the VHS, and Arnold is... It looks like he's almost getting sucked out of a room, but he's wearing this dress. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? So as soon as I watched the movie, I got it. But yeah, it was...
Yeah, and Richter is warned against shooting at Arnold.
Little plant and payoff.
Oh, yeah, because he...
Don't cross the streams.
Yeah, he shoots the gun anyway, and he shoots through the glass, which of course causes an enormous vacuum.
Shoot the glass.
As air is sucked out into the
awesome
the environment of Mars.
Very Star Wars, yeah. It's almost like Empire on Bespin or something when Luke is almost sucked out. I don't know. I love this. It's like it becomes like B-movie action and becomes kind of like a Star Wars level awesome moment. But that's just me. It's fucking awesome.
And people are like sucked out.
They're sucked into Mars.
And
they're
die.
Sucked in the environment or in the atmosphere.
Yeah, and the movie, this is very Verhoeven, where it's like, yeah, life is cheap. You know, like
Yeah.
the movie doesn't stop to
Casablanca.
mourn these people.
No.
Nothing. You
No.
know, but these steel doors come down to shut off.
Yeah, the guy who's questioning her manages to press the button.
Right, but Schwarzenegger ducks under one of these doors and is gone.
Mm-hmm. Well done.
Yep. So Quaid, he makes his way to a train, and we're hearing a lot of, again, background chatter and like more just like important stuff. You know, Cohaagen raised the price of air again.
Yeah, and he's sitting
which
next
is
to a guy who will, yeah.
Yep, it's like a utility almost.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, oh, they just want turbinium. Oh, what's that? Well, the pyramid mine shut down due to this alien stuff. Oh, I heard that's just a rumor. Like, all of this stuff is
The guy's
being...
like, is it? Yeah, he's like, until they found that alien shit inside. Like, big guy from, I think, like Roadhouse or something. I can't remember, but yeah.
Well, it's helpful because if you didn't catch it during that earlier scene, this
Mhm.
is stuff you do need to know.
Right, but it repeats it. It does a good job of repeating sort of the rules, kind of like like Back to the Future, repeating the rules of time. It's the same. Again, I'm not trying to like say it's the same level. I'm just saying that it does a good job plot wise of doing what a screenplay should do, is reminding you of the sort of like the fundamental rules of that world.
Right.
Yeah.
So Richter goes for his meeting with Cohaagen. Ronnie Cox, again, as you said, Dick Jones from RoboCop.
I mean, well, what an actor. I mean, Deliverance and, you know, so many, and then just playing a good guy in Beverly Hills Cop, a couple Beverly Hills Cop alumni here, and I'm so glad he's still with us. He's such a gifted actor, and he plays a hell of a bad guy. He relishes it. It's kind of like John Lithgow when he plays a bad guy in like Cliffhanger, Ricochet. You know, you really feel like he's having fun. And yeah, Dick, in this case, Cohaagen is such an asshole, and but I always feel like Roddy Cox was like gleeful about it. So
Yeah, I love this scene, and this is our first time really spending a lot of time with Cohaagen.
Yeah,
and he seems to reveal his plan, but basically he's saying, you know, he just needs to keep this turbinium flowing so he can stay, you know, in power and do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
You wanted to see me, sir?
Richter, do you know why I'm such a happy person?
No, sir.
Because I've got the greatest job in the solar system. As long as the turbinium keeps flowing, I can do anything I want. Anything. In fact, the only thing I ever worry about is that one day, if the rebels win, it all might end.
And you're fucking making it happen! First you try and kill Quaid, and then you let him get away.
He had help from our side, sir.
I know that.
But I thought...
Who told you to think? I don't give you enough information to think. You do what you're told. That's what you do.
Yes, sir.
Now, let's get down to business. We've got a tricky situation here. Quato wants what's in Quaid's head. And he might be able to get it, because they say he's psychic. And I have a plan to keep this from happening. Do you think you could play along?
Yes, sir.
Great. Because otherwise I'll erase your ass.
And he says, "Yeah, my only worry is that if the rebels might win, then it all ends, and you're making it happen."
Oh, I love,
you know?
yeah. He's calm at first of all. I love his office, and I love how he kind of looks over Mars like the Emperor in some kind of Star Wars. Again, I'm bringing up Star Wars again, but I love that sort of dynamic. But I love how calm he is. He's telling him, he's kind of giving some exposition, and then in true Verhoeven form, it just cuts to him up close saying, "And you're fucking making it happen." It was a similar thing that happened in RoboCop when he's like, "You just fucked with the wrong guy." Like, I love those outbursts.
I kept thinking of the bathroom scene.
It's
in
the
RoboCop,
bathroom scene
yeah.
in RoboCop. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean, and he's right to be concerned because look, one thing Mars is full of is mutants, and he says, you know, if he finds Cohaagen, the leader of the rebels, Cohaagen is psychic, and that means he will be able to pull whatever is inside Quaid's head out.
God, these people must have been on coke or acid or something when they could. But I love it. I love it. It's like such a otherworldly plot. It's like, and then the mutants and the psychic, and in the middle of it, you have this like the Austrian oak trying to get through this whole thing. I love it.
Yeah, I love this because they don't say this yet, but basically the reason there's all these mutants on Mars
is that
air quality, right?
Well, they cheaped out on all these domes.
Right.
So that means that people who live on Mars, especially in probably the poorer areas of Mars.
Oh, Benny tells me, yeah.
Yeah, they're exposed to all of the harmful radiation that's out there. And that, because of all that, that's why they've developed all these mutations, including some of them becoming psychic.
But it gives the audience the opportunity to see some great Rob Bottin makeup work. So even though I feel bad for the mutants, I love the makeup.
Absolutely, yeah. So Quaid walks out of the metro, and this is our first meeting with Benny, who is trying to get him to take his cab. He's a cab driver.
Yeah.
Quaid no-sails him. He walks into an upscale area. He goes to a hotel. He tries to get into a room, and he's told, oh, Mr. Brubaker, that's the alias he used, apparently, as his other self, there's something in the safety deposit box you left here the last time you were here. And he gets the deposit box, and all there is a flyer that says, go to this strip club and
ask for a good time.
Ask for Melinda.
But I love the way he does it because he sent it to himself because he says, may I have a pen, please? And because I think he writes it out again, and it's his writing.
That was really clever.
It took me a minute, but it's
right. As you said, what he does is he writes the word Melinda a second time, so we can say, I did write this. The handwriting matches.
The writing is the same. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yep,
very clever.
So he walks out, and he runs into Benny again, and Benny says, "Here, let's get into my cab." And then there's like a huge explosion, and Benny's like, what are you going to do? Rebels, it's Mars.
He said, I love welcome to Mars, man. It's like, all right, fasten your seatbelt. We got big explosions. We got a big budget here. We've got an adventure coming, too.
Yep. And he's like, where do you want to go? He says, I want to go to the Last Resort. That's the strip club in Venusville. Yeah. He's like, is this your first time on Mars? Yes. No. Sort of. He's like,
yeah. Well, sort of.
And Benny's immediately like, how do you not even know that?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So they go to Venusville, which is the red light district.
Yeah.
And
this was my favorite part filming the movie because I got the opportunity when the cameras were off to be able to kind of go to this red light district and have some fun on my downtime. You know what I mean? Because it's like, look, what are you going to do?
You're going to hit on women with 3 boobs.
Absolutely. And why I wouldn't have it any other way.
But they have this nice moment where, he's kind to this mutant child. He kind of is nice to her. And he asks,
go ahead.
Yeah, he says, he asks what happened. And that's when Benny says, they cheaped out on the domes. All the stuff I explained before about why the mutants are the way they are.
Right.
He's well, don't you want to go to this other strip club? He's like, let me guess, you get kickbacks for taking people over there. He's, what do you want? I got 5 kids to feed.
Right.
Something he will say over and over again.
That's right. It'll pay off.
Yep. So he goes to the Last Resort. Again, he finds the girl with the 3 boobs.
Yes, let's talk about this for a minute. It's one of the
spent
most
a lot of
time. First off, when people think of the movie Total Recall, chances are they're going to go right to this scene. I mean, anybody I've talked to in my life, when we talk about Total Recall, yes, they say get your ass to Mars, and they talk about the 3 boobs. I mean, there's no avoiding it. Yeah. This is one of the most iconic scenes in the film.
I don't have anything to add about the 3 boobs other than look, 3 boobs.
It's a good makeup job.
It is a good makeup job. The one thing I remembered from the novelization, oddly enough, is that in the novel it's 4, 2 in front and 2 in back.
Shit. I never read the novel.
Yeah,
I'm sure Philip K. Dick didn't have this, and we can remember it for you wholesale, considering it wasn't Mars.
Yeah,
I don't think. But it's a great Rob Bottin makeup, and it's a mutant stripper with 3 boobs. There could have been I'm sure now they would try to do a prequel movie about her, but I probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah, we meet some of the other people who frequent this bar.
Right.
There's a little person, I forget the character's name, this blonde girl.
Yeah, she passed away, I read, unfortunately.
Oh, it's too bad. She gets a whole bunch of really cool hero moments later in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, Tony, who, talk about your great makeup job, he's got this, he's missing an eye, and he's got this big, crevice that kind of runs up through his face. It's hard to describe.
It's like cleaver face. I mean, it looks like it. Yeah, I mean, he's got a cleft, and he's got a. They recognize Arnold, but he clearly had a previous life here. So another funny line, he's like, Tony says to him, "You got a lot of nerve showing your face around your Hauser," and he, Schwarzenegger looks at him and says, "Look who's talking." you know?
Right.
Which pisses him off a little more.
Yep.
Yeah.
But so he's led to Mel's room, and there is this brunette we've seen only in dreams.
There's a Takaten who would go on to be in Con Air and a lot of other movies, I think like Man on Fire or something.
Yeah, she slaps the shit out of him.
You son of a bitch. You're alive. I thought that Cohaagen tortured you to death.
I guess he didn't.
And you couldn't get me a message? You never even wondered what happened to me? How's it, thank God you're alive?
Melina.
Hmm?
Melina. I got to tell you something.
What?
I don't remember you.
What are you talking about?
I don't remember you. I don't remember us. I don't even remember me.
What did you get, amnesia? How did you get here?
Hauser left me a note.
Hauser, you're Hauser.
Not anymore. Now I'm Quaid. Douglas Quaid.
Hauser, you've lost your mind.
I didn't lose my mind. Cohaagen stole it. He found out that Hauser switched sides, so he turned him into somebody else. Me.
This is too weird.
And he dumped me on Earth with a wife and a lousy job.
Did you say wife? Are you fucking married?
You know, she wasn't really my wife.
Oh, she isn't really your wife. How stupid of me. She was Hauser's wife?
Look, forget that I said
No,
wife.
let's just forget everything. I'm sick of you and your goddamn lies.
Why would I lie to you?
Because you're still working for Cohaagen.
Don't be ridiculous.
You never loved me, Hauser. You just used me to get inside.
Inside what?
I think you better leave.
Melina, Hauser sent me to do something.
I'm not falling for it.
He says there's enough in here to nail Cohaagen for good.
Get out.
You got to help me remember.
I said get out.
Melina, please. People are trying to kill me.
Really?
All right. I'm leaving.
I love
the transition there. Yeah, that was great.
It's she's. I thought Cohaagen tortured you to death.
Yeah.
She's upset, but she hugs him and he tries to explain the memory situation. He's like, "Yeah, I was on Earth. I had a wife." She's not happy to hear that he had a wife.
Yeah. Are you fucking married? Yeah. He's got a bunch of lines here. Yeah.
And so he's very confused by this. She's fairly confused. She pulls a gun on him, and we cut down to Benny, who just says he wishes he had 3 hands for our 3-breasted lady.
But he's doing fine with just 2.
He is. Quaid comes down, and he basically tells, like, hey, just take me to a hotel.
Right.
And so they leave. And this leads to an amazing scene.
One of the best scenes in the film.
So, Quaid goes back to the hotel, and he is greeted by someone who claims to be Dr. Edgemont from Recall.
Right.
I get it. I'm dreaming. And all this is part of the delightful vacation your company has sold me.
Not exactly. What you're experiencing is a free-form delusion based on our memory tapes. But you're inventing it yourself as you go along.
What if it is my delusion? Who the hell invited you?
I've been artificially implanted as an emergency measure. I'm sorry to tell you this, Mr. Quaid, but you've suffered a schizoid embolism. We can't snap you out of your fantasy. And I've been sent in to try to talk you down.
How much is Cohaagen paying you for this?
Think about it. Your dream started in the middle of the implant procedure. Everything after that, the chases, the trip to Mars, the suite at the Hilton, are all elements of your recall holiday and ego trip. You paid to be a secret agent.
Bullshit. It's coincidence.
And what about the girl? Brunette, athletic, sleazy, and demure? Just as you specified. Is that coincidence?
She's real. I dreamt about her before I even went to Recall.
Mr. Quaid, can you hear yourself? She's real because you dreamed her.
That's right.
Well, maybe this will convince you. Would you mind opening the door?
Right.
I'll let you take away what happens
well,
here.
So you hear a voice. This was a great actor too. He was also in Arachnophobia and movies like that. He played the coroner and I'm a funeral director in Arachnophobia. But anyway, this wonderful actor comes in. It's kind of an unassuming, bald guy in a suit, and he's Dr. Edgemont, and he says, I know this is going to come as a shock to you, Mr. Quaid, but I'm afraid you're not really standing here. He's like, looks at him. He's like, you know what, doctor? You could have fooled me. But it turns into this whole sequence where, if I'm not mistaken, he says, well, your wife is here as well. And well, he says, I need to introduce you to somebody. He's like, who is it this time? My mother. And then Sharon Stone comes in. So basically what's going on here is you've got two characters trying to convince Schwarzenegger that he's still at recall right now, and he's living out his warped fantasy of being a spy, and they're trying to bring him back to reality, if I'm not mistaken.
That's exactly it, right?
Yeah.
All this is fake. And
you're
having an episode.
You're having an episode, and she's like, she looks at him, and she's very convincing. And she says, I love, so we're pretending none of this shit happened. Like, there was no fighting with Sharon Stone in the beginning, it wasn't. And she's like, I love you. He's like, bullshit. I think that's the bullshit that's used a lot in those Arnold soundboards and stuff, along with, who are you? How did you find me? But it's a great scene. It's extremely suspenseful, this scene. And this scene sort of lays out really the base plot of what the whole movie is, which is it real or is it not? And is he having a psychotic episode? Is it a dream? This scene, I think, has been studied because it does give answers. It's still ambiguous at the end, but it really tries to give you hints of whether or not this is actually a dream, whether or not he's actually a spy, or whether or not he's, he basically says, if you don't do what I say, Mr. Quaid, and you take this pill, which is going to bring you back to reality, you're going to end up being lobotomized, which goes back to what his friend told him in the beginning, saying, like, don't fuck with recall because we had a friend who ended up lobotomized.
Stop punishing yourself, Doug. You're a fine, upstanding man. You have a beautiful wife that loves you. Your whole life is ahead of you. But you've got to want to return to reality.
Let's assume I do. Then what?
Swallow this.
What is it?
It's a symbol of your desire to return to reality. Inside your dream, you'll fall asleep.
All right. Let's say you're telling the truth and this is all a dream. Then I could pull this trigger and it won't matter.
Doug, don't. It won't make the slightest difference to me, Doug. But the consequences to you would be devastating. In your mind, I'll be dead, and with no one to guide you out, you'll be stuck in permanent psychosis.
Doug, let Dr. Edgemore help you.
The walls of reality will come crashing down. 1 minute, you'll be the savior of the rebel cause, and the next thing you know, you'll be Cohaagen's bosom buddy. You'll even have fantasies about alien civilizations, as you requested, but in the end, back on Earth, you'll be lobotomized. So get a grip on yourself, Doug, and put down that gun.
A lot going on here, but it comes to the suspenseful part of him being asked to take a pill, which will supposedly bring him back to recall to reality, and where he's a construction worker.
Yeah, and I love the some of the stuff in here that he's using to try and convince him, because he basically says, well, why don't I just kill you? And he says, you can't do that because I'm your only link back to reality.
He nervously says it. He says he doesn't like having that gun pointed at him. So there's some cracks in this whole thing. But what gives it away is the line of sweat. But
I love that. Yeah. So he sees that this guy is
really nervous,
because he puts the pill in his mouth. Even he's about to do it, but he sees the guy sweating, and it's like, well, if he was, why would he be sweating if this was a dream and he was not in any real danger?
Oh, that's true. Well, what I took from it, I mean, that's a good point too. If it was a dream, but also I just took from it that he's really nervous, and I thought that was the giveaway, and that's why he was sweating. But I don't know.
Yeah, I just figured again, what would he have to be nervous about? He's not in any danger,
right? Unless
there really is a gun pointed at him,
right? So Quaid does. So Schwarzenegger does make the decision to blow the guy's brains out. In another really awesome, 1990 ultra-violent blood effect. And of course, for this part of the movie, Schwarzenegger's right. They were bullshitting him, and he is on Mars, and he really was this former person. And Sharon Stone, it's kind of like the end of Inception, right? With the top spinning, is it really a dream? Is it not? I hated the end of it. But I'm like, I wish they just would have told us. But in this case, it's really cool. And Sharon Stone says, now you've done it. So she is bad. She is a bad bitch. And, pretty much this is reality. He really is on Mars, and they were bullshitting him.
Right. And he says the doctor says a couple things that do seem persuasive, which is just like, what do you think is more likely? That you went to recall and things went wrong, or all of this? That you're really a spy who's going to save the planet. And,
and this actor was very good because I forget his name. He was in several things. He did pass away. He was a great actor, and it really does come down to performances to hook a scene like this, to really get it to be memorable. But he does have this look about him where he's got this sort of like innocence or something. He has this sort of, I don't know, naivete. Not naivete, but he just seems like very warm, but at the same time, there's something's off. And that was really well done.
So as soon as he does that,
he blows the guy's head off.
He blows the guy's head off. And Laurie's like, well, now you've done it. And a bunch of goons burst in. And
blow up the wall and just rush in.
Yep.
We're back to Total Recall.
Yep. They sue him, or they subdue him.
Yeah.
Laurie gives him a good kick. And that's for making me come to Mars.
I hate this fucking planet.
Yep. She reports success to Richter. And they're dragging Quaid down the hall when they get to the elevator bay. When the elevator opens and Mel just blast them all with a machine gun.
Now listen, I love big guns and I love doing movies with big guns, but to see this woman, Rachel Cotton, when the director gave her the machine gun, and luckily they weren't live rounds, although that would have been hilarious too. But to see her blow all these people away, not blow them in the way that I wanted, but just to see that kind of effect was fantastic. The power of the woman with the machine gun is unbelievable.
Well, power, like she fist fights Laurie at this point. Like,
she's
brutal.
a full-on badass.
Yeah, it's a badass fight between both of them. Arnold comes to at this moment to see this.
Yeah, he does what now? Okay, he comes to.
He comes to.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah. So he shoots at Laurie.
Schwarzenegger's a bit of a perv. That's kind of why I like it.
He is.
He's a total perv. So
yeah,
I gotta be in that role.
Well, what I love is he shoots at Laurie and she tries to talk him down one more time, and he just shoots her in the head.
Fuck you! Doug. Honey, you wouldn't hurt me, would you, sweetheart? Sweetheart, be reasonable. After all, we're married.
Consider that a divorce.
That was your wife? What a bitch.
Well, it's one of the best lines in the movie. She says, because he's got the gun on her, but then she's also, in a classic villain style, is reaching for a knife, getting ready to try to fight back, and she says, after all, don't forget, we're married. And then before she could pull the knife, he shoots her in the head and says, consider that a divorce.
Right.
So it's great.
And he does it in front of Mel, so she knows, like, oh, okay, he really didn't like his
I guess
wife
he doesn't
after
like her that much.
Yeah.
Well, just shot her in the head, so I guess I do have a chance. We can get back together.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Richter, who's downstairs, sees the elevator now going up instead of down, so he knows something's wrong. So,
but that won't be the last of Richter in an elevator.
Oh no,
so
no.
We'll get, but hey, I'm skipping it.
Yep. And so a couple these things are kind of happening simultaneously, but
yeah, it's a lot of action, a lot of editing, a lot of
Doug asked Mel, "Why did you come back for me?" And she said, "Quado wants to see you. That's why I'm here."
Right.
Richter comes up, finds Laurie's corpse, and is now even more mad at Doug than he was before.
Great shot of Michael Ironside there, getting more mad than he was before.
Yeah. And Mel and Quaid, like they're making their way down. They're like swinging on like this scaffolding near the glass dome.
Right. So they're in danger. They gotta. The bad guys are catching up, and and Richter is now listening to reason and realizes that he can't shoot them because they're all gonna get sucked out. If they shoot the glass.
Yeah, the guy with the glasses is warning him, like, don't shoot the glass. Oh,
that's right.
Again.
He wanted to do it, and he fucking wants to kill him. You're right. And Glasses guy from that actor from Beverly Hills Cop is trying to have him listen to reason. Yeah.
So Mel and Quaid make their way to the floor level, and they find Benny, and they say, we got to get to the last resort, which leads to a car chase. And he's like, what are you trying to do to me? I got 5 kids to feed.
Yeah.
They dodge a couple of these huge drilling machines, which come into play later.
Yeah. And by the way, just this production design is fantastic. I love these tunnels. This is what I read about. I know for sure when they were shooting in Mexico. This was all sound stages in Mexico. But man, all the work that went into this film, I mean, really, really shows. I mean,
all the money's on screen. Yeah,
all the money's on screen. I mean, that drilling machine is massive, and
there's more than one of them.
There is more. Yeah, it's really well done. I just love the look of this film. I love how everything has the red hue, and it's a great action film.
And nothing is sleek. Like it's a little bit of that like
Star Wars kind of worn.
Yeah, it's worn, but these things don't look like they were, nice to look at even when they were new.
Right.
Like everything is pretty shitty looking.
Yeah, it's shitty looking, but it's a lived-in world,
right?
Which works.
So the bad guys manage to shoot out the brakes on Benny's cab, so he just goes crashing through a whole bunch of walls.
Yeah,
they run out while the bad guys pursue. They get to the last resort, and Tony is there. He opens like a fake wall, which they run into, and then everybody like puts a table in front of it, like they act like everything is normal just seconds before the bad guys get there.
Right, they're all in rebel mode.
Yep, they are. This is the rebel bar.
Rebel bar.
So lady with the 3 boobs asks Richter if he wants to have some fun.
Yeah,
and he just shoots her in the back.
Awful. Yeah,
he
shoots 3 boobs. That's right, she died. God damn it, that's why she wasn't at the premiere. I was going to sit next to her.
Yep.
Son of a bitch.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love this that like everyone's kind of playing their cards as best they can. So like Richter's just using force.
It's like a Casablanca moment, or
they try to
like Rabbit kind of like haven't seen him.
They try to lie and say they don't know where he is. They don't know what he's talking about. But at a certain point, with a gun to their face,
once the gun, right? So it's a little Judge Doomy kind of,
right?
Yeah.
But then we get the hero moment for our little person, because she just like pulls out a gun and starts like a machine gunning everyone.
A lot of women with machine guns. It's like a Jim Cameron movie kind of. It's a lot of woman power, and it's really cool. But these are some badass moments because it's full on women with machine guns just blowing these guys away.
Oh, she stabs
the guy with the glasses, but she does have the big gun, right? Doesn't she? She stabs Glasses Guy
to death.
Awesome movie. Yeah, of course, it's a Verhoeven movie. It's going to be to death.
Yeah, and Richter, who's maybe a little bit of a coward, dives out the window to get away from this.
Yeah, he's a puss in that scene. I remember that.
Yep.
Wuss.
And there's a call for you from Cohaagen.
Oh, boy.
And Cohaagen's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. What the fuck is going on?
Yep.
Yeah.
And he orders them to pull out because they're trapped. And Cohaagen, for some reason, says this is actually a positive development.
Yeah. Don't think, just do it.
So Cohaagen seals everything off and then cuts off all of the power to like the fans that circulate oxygen.
Yeah,
to this
is
entire
the beginning
area.
of the kind of the third act. He's shutting down the air supply.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic.
And so we cut back to our team here of Mel, Quaid, and Benny working their way through the tunnels. They find these like skeletons in there.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, these are the first settlers of Mars that are buried there. They worked themselves to death.
Yeah.
While Cohaagen built cheap domes and watched their kids turn into freaks.
Yeah. That son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a good guy.
But there's a sweet line in here because he's just something about like, oh, Quado's going to help you remember the things you used to know when you were Hauser. And she says that you loved me. And he goes, I don't need Quado for that.
Yeah. Cute. Since when? And then there's a little smoochy scene.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Very good. But right when they're kissing,
the rebels
right
come
behind
in.
it. Yeah, well, the skeleton moves and then the rebels come and there's a rebel behind and he's like, Mr. Quado's ready to see you or whatever.
The first settlers are buried here. They worked themselves to death, but Cohaagen ended up with all the money. He built cheap domes and watched the kids turn into freaks.
I saw them.
And if you want to breathe, you have to buy his air.
Maybe you can change all that.
Hey, I think my grandpa might be here.
So what can I do?
Quado's gonna make you remember some things you knew when you were Hauser.
Like what?
All sorts of things. Like maybe you'll remember that you loved me.
I don't need Quado for that.
Since when?
Freeze! Come on, Melina. Quato's waiting.
Hey, I didn't find Grandpa, but... Oh, shit.
Who's this?
He helped us get away.
Hey, don't worry about me, man. I'm on your side.
You're a mutant, huh? All right, let's go.
Yeah, and they're like, what about Benny? And he goes, well, I'm one of you. And he pulls off his hand, and then like a big old mutant hand like unfolds out of his sleeve.
It's like a fucking E.T. moment. I remember that as a kid. It's like it comes out, it's like, ouch. But it wasn't like that, but yes.
Yes.
I'm one of you. Relax. I'm on your side.
Some good body horror here with his weird, creepy
cool.
arm.
The makeup is great in this movie. Like I said, I mean, it's fantastic. And then we're introduced to a great character actor. God, I am blanking on his name. No, it's Marshall Bell. Marshall Bell has been in everything. Stand By Me. He's been in comedies. He's been in dramas. But he was in A Nightmare on Elm Street too. But yeah, he is the sort of the leader of the rebels. I mean, not Cohaagen, but we'll see.
Right. We've seen this guy before, but he's nondescript enough that you wouldn't have necessarily noticed him.
Right.
You know, he's just wearing like khaki pants and like a vest. Like,
yeah,
he's
he was earlier. He was in the strip club or whatever when Arnold was going up to see Melina. He was one of the guys. Yeah. Yeah,
we've seen him a few times, or rather, he's been on screen a few times. But like I said, they do such a good job of not calling any attention to this guy.
Right.
You never know he's mostly the leader of the rebels.
Right.
So this guy says, "Look, we're gonna take you over to a back room here so I can talk to you."
Right.
And we get Tony on the intercom, letting them know, like, hey, the what Cohaagen has said is if we don't turn over Quaid, he's gonna let us all die, and we don't have long.
Right. So it's time to remember. And I also love the line where he's like, he's like, let me guess, you're Cohaagen, right? He's like, no, wrong. Cohaagen's a mutant, so don't be scared when you see him, or don't be disgusted don't be surprised when you see him. Something.
Yeah.
What do you want, Mr. Quaid? The same as you, to remember.
But why?
To be myself again.
You are what you do. A man is defined by his action, not his memory. Please, take my hand. Now, open your mind to me, please. Open your mind. Open your mind. Open your mind. Open your mind.
It's one of the this hands down is one of the most iconic. This is one of the most iconic makeup effect sequences in the film. Is the revealing of Cohaagen. It's well done. This one I have no problem with. This is a well done scene, even when it's like a mechanical torso for the guy who's supplying Cohaagen. Spoiler.
Yeah, well, as we see, so he turns around and he opens up his shirt.
He looks
back
like
to us.
Pain. Yeah, he's like, ah, it's like, what the fuck's going on with this guy?
Yeah, I don't know why that happens. Like, why is he in pain or whatever? I guess we have to assume that like Cohaagen was like
it
inside
hurts when
him.
he comes. It's inside. Yeah, it hurts when he comes out, but But yeah, when he turns back around, Cohaagen is a little mutant that is attached to the abdomen of the leader.
Yeah, he's like sort of a conjoined twin kind of deal, but yeah, he's tiny. Like he's
a little baby. Yeah, he's a little baby. It kind of looks like the bad baby from It's Alive, but a little more. I don't know.
Yeah, I got a little bit of a Chucky vibe.
He's got a little burn Child's Play 2 Chucky look. He looks like Chucky after all the plastic falls on him.
He's got like a creepy milky eye and stuff. Like they do everything they can to make him gross looking and creepy.
Yeah, he's really gross. And then again, the upper body of the guy, it's now a mechanical guy and a little Cohaagen puppet. So the whole thing is mechanical, but this one doesn't bother me as much. But the guy, Marshall Bell, he's like mechanical too. He's a He's animatronic at that point.
Yeah, and I think they try and give you this idea that like only one of them can be active at a time.
Right, exactly.
Because like he's like the
because he's asleep.
He like slumps over. Yeah.
Well, later Arnold has to wake him up. He's like, wake up, wake up. So the guy's in a trance or something, and so now it's Kawato's has all the energy or whatever. But yeah, it's a really memorable moment, and Kawato's awesome in this really cool revelation that don't judge a book by its cover. You never know what you're gonna get. It's kind of a mystery as to what he really looks like. It's good stuff, like Yoda, sort of.
Yeah.
A B movie version of Yoda.
And said, there's this discussion about just before that, Marshall Bell tells hey, have you heard the rumors about the mine? Cohaagen found something in there that was weird and it scared him.
Yeah.
And he said, whatever, aliens maybe, but whatever it was is buried in your brain and Kawato's going to dig it out.
Right.
And so we get this like kind of mystical sequences, like Kawato goes into to Quaid's mind, and we just get this swooping shot of these strange, enormous devices that are inside the pyramid mine,
accompanied by the music of Jerry Goldsmith, where he really gives us another. It's more of sort of that Mars theme, but he gives us a really kind of a full-fledged version of it. This is a great sequence.
Yeah,
I remember that.
And in the center of it is this like kind of device, this round globe with an imprint in it, like a 4-fingered alien hand.
Right.
And that they focus on that. That's the thing.
That's the key. And then the music sort of crescendos, and it's like this is what we've been waiting for. This is the key right here.
Right.
Is this thing that's way deep in the whatever.
Yeah, Kawato also gives him some like Yoda-esque.
You are what you do. That was a little weak. I always found he's like, you are what you do. I was like, oh, okay, he's going to do some Yoda wisdom.
Yeah, man is defined by his actions, not his memories. That stuff.
It's like whatever. Let's just get to the fucking. Yeah.
Right. So now we know. Yes, in fact, the alien technology is a real thing. It's in the mind.
Right.
And so there's all this rumbling. Quaid tries to wake Kawato up, and the drill busts through. And so there's running, there's shooting, there's mayhem. They grab spacesuits to go outside, but Benny now has them at gunpoint, and he shoots Kawato.
Yeah.
And says, you led us right to him. And he's like, but you're a mutant. He says, I got 4 kids to feed. He's like, I thought you had 5 kids. He's like, shit. Yeah, I'm not even married.
What happened to number 5? Oh, shit, you got me. I ain't even married. Now put your fucking hands up. Yeah, he's a turncoat. Screw you, Benny.
Yep.
You bastard.
And Kawato, like, in his dying moments, just tells Quaid, start the reactor, free Mars, and then he gets a final bullet in the head from Richter.
Another gnarly... Yeah, just nasty. This movie has got a lot of headshots, and each one is gross.
Yeah. And so Cohaagen would like to talk to you.
Yep.
And we cut to the scene of Kawato on a slab, and Cohaagen goes like, oh, that's interesting. And so now...
No wonder he kept out of sight.
We start getting Cohaagen explaining what his version of the plan was.
Right.
And we find out, of course, that all of this was sort of intended.
Right.
I'm going to explain like what Cohaagen's plan is here.
Right. Well, again, I think in this sequence, it was all so he could get Arnold back, so he could turn him back into Hauser, who it turns out is actually best friends with Cohaagen, and he's his best buddy, and he actually wants Hauser back. So this whole thing was to get his friend back after all the brainwashing and everything like that. It's awesome.
Well,
because Arnold,
they say the brainwashing is also a ploy. The whole idea, what he says was, you had this information in your head about the aliens and everything else.
Yeah.
The problem is that Mars is full of psychics, including Kawato, and if they got their hands on you, Kawato would be able to find that out. So what they did, the plan that they concocted was, we're going to wipe you clean. We're going to stick you on Earth.
Right.
And that way you'll be safe there and no one will know. But eventually you will find your way back, and you will be, not your inclination will be to go find Kawato, and that will lead us to where Kawato is.
That's right. It's so crazy. I know. I forgot that. But yeah, that's exactly right. But I know it's funny when he... when he turns on Cohaagen, like turns on the screen and it's Arnold again. He's like, "Howdy, stranger. This is Hauser. I knew you could do it, buddy. You led us right to it, and now it's time for me to go back to being the friend. And we're going to have some cool I'm making this up, but he's like, we're gonna have parties and margaritas and all kinds of fun stuff on Mars. We're gonna have a lot of girls over, and it's gonna be like old times."
Well, there's a funny exchange in here where he says something like,
"Our dreams," or
no, he says like, so it was all a setup. That's too perfect. And Cohaagen goes, "Hardly. I'm amazed it worked."
Oh, yeah. Hardly. Well, he's like, "I got to hand it to you, Cohaagen. It's the best mind fuck yet."
Right.
Yes. Don't take my word for it.
And
Someone else wants to talk to you. Yeah.
And that's when they play the Hauser.
That's the Hauser. And it's hilarious. Right. I love this movie.
So now that the villain has had his monologue and explained what the fuck's going on.
Now we have to kill the hero.
And this explains why, because Arnold was like, then why is Richter constantly trying to kill me if you wanted me to come back?
Right, because he didn't know the whole fucking thing.
Right, Richter was not in on this.
That's right. It was cool. Well done.
So now we get a good as he's being
bastards.
Yep. So they're shoving Quaid and Mel both into recall chairs. They're going to wipe her mind too.
Yeah. Relax. You're going to love being Hauser. Guy's a fucking asshole.
Yeah. It's very funny.
Not true. He's one of my best friends. He owns a Mercedes, and you'll be back with this beautiful girl, and you'll get to fuck her every night.
Yeah, he says like pretty misogynistic. He says like she'll be fixed to be respectful, compliant, and appreciative the way a woman ought to be.
She spits in his face.
Yeah, good.
But you have to. I'm sure there was a lot of laughter, like when they cut the camera, and I'm like, I just know Ronnie Cox must have been having a good time. Like, it seems like he was really hamming it up. He's such a good bad guy. I love him in this film.
Well, and he gets even more despicable in a second because he's told, "Hey, the people in Venusville are going to run out of air," and he goes, basically, "Fuck them."
Well, yeah, he's like, "But sir, they have minutes left. Fuck them."
Sir, the oxygen level is bottoming out in Sector G. What do you want me to do about it?
Don't do anything.
But they won't last an hour, sir.
Fuck them. Be a good lesson to the others.
Come on, Cohaagen, you got what you want. Give these people air.
My friend, in 5 minutes, you won't give a shit about the people. Fire it up, Doc.
Excuse me, Doctor. Is he going to remember any of this?
Not a thing.
Oh, really?
And then we get one of my favorite lines and one of my titles of my favorite Austrian Death Machine song, which is, "Come on, Cohaagen, you got what you want. Give these people ear."
Give these people ear.
Have we talked about Austrian Death Machine?
No, I don't think we have. I know we have competing Arnolds, but I don't think we've talked about Austrian Death Machine.
Do you know what it is?
Not particularly.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. It's a death metal band.
Okay.
But everything they do is Schwarzenegger themed.
Oh my God.
So like all of their songs are like, "I need your clothes, your boots, your motorcycle."
Oh, that's amazing. That's kind of like what they do with those videos online where it's like, "Oh, I want to dance with somebody," where it's like an AI Arnold over there.
Yeah, it's not that.
It's not. I know. It's all themed like.
Everything
clothes in the book. It's like, get to Mars and pretty soon you have to go recall. Oh, it's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so I have to start listening to that then.
Well, you can only listen to a little of it, I think, before your eardrums fall off. But it's still a funny idea.
I can handle it.
All right. Anyway, yeah, he says, "What about these people?" And he says, "In 5 minutes, you won't give a shit about the people."
Yeah, he actually has some one-liners that are. I mean, I'm skipping ahead, but I love his line later. He says, "I'll blow this place up and be home in time for cornflakes." Like,
yep.
That is just such a hilarious line.
Well, Richter takes advantage. He goes like, "Is he going to remember any of this?" No. So he just punches him in the face.
This is how we say goodbye in Germany, Dr. Jones.
Yep.
It's like I like the Austrian way better. Good, because I'm Austrian.
See you at the party. Cohaagen invites him to a party. At this point.
Richter says, "I will see you at," because he says later. Oh, by the way, come by later. I love this. He's like, "Come by later." We're about to be bad guys again, best buddies, and then Richter tells him for the first time, "See you at the party."
So after they leave, Schwarzenegger is able to break out of his restraint. Like he pulls. This is gnarly. Yeah, he pulls the thing out of its housing sort of.
Yeah.
So he's got it's his arm and then the metal thing attached to it and there's a long pole that's attached to that.
Right. So basically he's got a spike sticking out of his arm and he uses his sheer will and all the constant bench pressing and weights and everything. It's just the power of the Austrian oak here. Mm-hmm. It's true Arnold power in this moment. He rips it out and he's now got the spike and he just shoves it into this guy's throat if I'm not mistaken. Doesn't he go right into a guy's throat? And then there's another guy. Basically, he tears up the place. He kills all the bad guys. He this is even crazier. He takes like a pole or something and he like shoves it through a guy's nose and out his head. Like, it's fucked up. Love it.
Yeah, it's
great
like,
makeup.
Well, I love the creativity of like, well, he's going to do something violent and kill yet another room full of dudes. So we got to like spice it up somehow.
We got to spice
like,
it up.
Yeah, so the creativity with some of these kills is great.
This is really, they sort of took the kills from the beginning where he took out, Harry and his friends, and now they added a little paprika, a little oregano, they sort of seasoned it well, and now we've got some really fucked up killings.
Yeah, and it doesn't take long for the bad guys to find out about this.
Yeah.
And so, Richter's like, well, should I go kill him? And Cohaagen's like, yeah, all right,
Yeah, he's like, sir, you have to make a decision. Kill him. And he says it's about goddamn time.
That's right. And then Cohaagen knocks over a fish tank and watches the fish all gasp for air.
Get it?
Yep.
Get it? I always watch this. I'm like, do you get it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And definitely because the next thing they cut to is all of the mutants like
wonderful transition.
Gasping for air.
Yeah, exactly.
The clock is
on the nose.
We got a ticking clock here.
Yeah, we do.
So now we're really into the end game because they go quickly to this. So Quaid and Mel are already making their way to the reactor in the mines, which they're trying to get to that.
But
they can't get through. There's no way through anymore. There used to be anyway.
Right, they're in a dead end.
And they said they're in a dead end, and they're now cornered by Benny in the drilling machine.
It's commandeering the drilling machine. This is a fucking gnarly. This is like in every Arnold montage. Yeah, the drilling machine is bearing down on Benny, and he's like, "Hey, remember me?" He's got a loudspeaker. It's like, "Remember me?" It's Benny, and he's taunting Arnold, and so it gets pretty gnarly here. The gears are getting so close to Arnold and Melina that it's actually like ripping her arms a little bit, and it's like blood spurts and everything.
He grabs this like handheld drilling device.
Yes, he does.
Thank God he's out of his construction worker experience.
Hey, that's where it pays off. I mean, see, that's plant and payoff. He knows how to jackhammer people in various ways.
Well, he jackhammers the like tubing near the front of this thing that's, I guess, carrying the fuel, so it runs out of power after he pokes holes in it.
Right. He disables the... Yeah, and then he's... Right.
Delivers one of the great Arnold one-liners. Screw you! As he drills through the side of this thing. Now, my son's name is Benjamin.
Yeah.
And so I do this... I have a Schwarzenegger bit that I do with my son. The joke is that the Schwarzenegger voice is my real voice. And I don't want anyone to know. Like, this is why I do this. And so Ben will go like, do your real voice. I'm like, I can't let anyone know. Not now. And so I accidentally, I think because I've had this movie on the brain, I was screw you, Benny. And which he's
like, what?
Now he's repeating it. I'm like, no, you can't say that.
Do you see what you've done?
He thought it's hilarious.
You see, it starts, and let me tell you something. It starts, this is why we have to protect our kids, because it starts in the house, and then they repeat it, and then it goes to school, and then to the school, everybody's going to be saying, screw you, and it's all because of Doug here.
And wait till you find out who's teaching his kindergarten.
Oh, my God. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
My God. Yeah.
I'll show you that's the movie I probably want to show them first because it's the most like family friendly thing that I could show them. I don't care about Jingle all the way. But...
I really wish like if Verhoeven were to direct Kindergarten Cop 2, Arnold is obviously more grown up and all the kids are grown up and they're all police officers and it's ultra violent. It's like, look, I taught you in school, but now I'm going to teach you how to declare war on the streets. And it's just a fucking violent movie with the kids. That's something I would love to see, but it's never going to happen.
So, screw you, Benny. And through all of this, Benny did open a hole in the end of the wall where I guess there used to be a hole. They've reopened it, and that lets them right into the mine.
Yeah, he kind of crashed into it, I think.
Yep. And
this is some production designs, like matte paintings and virtual, this is Dream Quest images. I love these alien mines are amazing.
And this is what Quado showed us before.
Yeah. The reactor makes the air. The whole core of Mars is ice. The reactor makes it, and it releases the oxygen. Come on, let's go. It's great.
This whole thing is one big reactor made out of topinium. And Cohaagen knows it makes air. The bastard won't turn it on.
Of course not. If Mars had an atmosphere, he'd lose control.
See down there?
It's a glacier. The whole core of Mars is ice. The reactor melted, and it releases the oxygen. Come on.
Enough for everyone to breathe?
Sure. Enough for the whole planet. If we turn it on time.
Right, because she's...
how does it work?
Yeah, she asks how it works. He explains this is the secret that in my head that was the crux of this whole thing.
Right.
And Cohaagen wouldn't want it on because if there was free air for everybody, he'd lose all of his power. No one would need it.
Knows the reactor makes air. The bastard won't turn it on.
That's right.
That's right.
So Richter's in the big columns, and this is where we get the application of the hologram watch finally, because he seemingly walks into this arena and gets shot by a whole bunch of guys, and then gets back up and starts laughing.
He starts laughing, and the laughing is hilarious. There's the and then
the real Quaid steps out.
The real Quaid, but then he moments later, another group of bad guys corners Quaid, and he starts laughing. And he says, "Ha ha! You think this is a real Quaid? It is." And then he tries to start shooting them. So he was playing a hologram. So this is the finale of this movie is such an awesome series of moments. Just so well done. Great third act.
And then they play one more trick with it, which is you watch Mel get shot, and you realize, no, she's got it now. They've passed it back and forth.
You see that is the power of the woman. She's got it now too, and they're a real team. They both have hologram power.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Quaid is getting into an elevator.
Yeah.
Closely followed by Richter.
But the best. Here we go. Yeah.
So yes, they're fighting on this elevator as it goes up and up and up and way out of reach for Mel to be able to help in any way.
Yeah, it's an elevator. It's like it's really like a platform lift because it's not encased. It's like a it's a lift, but basically they're going mano a mano, and they've got this wonderful fist fight, and it's the big showdown with the main henchman. And what do I say?
Yeah, you're coming with me.
See you at the party, Richter.
Well, here we go. So he knocks Richter off the side of the thing, and he's hanging. Schwarzenegger's holding onto his arms, but the elevator keeps going up and up,
and
until it reaches the next level.
At which point his arms are severed, and Richter, now an amputee, falls to his death, and Schwarzenegger, holding these really gross bleeding arms, says, "See you at the party, Richter," and he throws the arms, and it's like
another like all-time like great Schwarzenegger one-liner.
Yeah, and right after that, then the Jerry Goldsmith's music's so awesome here. It turns into this like very alien, almost like godlike music as he starts to rise, and the elevator keeps going on. It's like a hero's ascent or something, and he finally makes it to the reactor level, which is like it's almost like you expect Terry Jones to say like "Good evening and welcome to the end of the film," something like that. It's just it's such an iconic moment with that music and that build up.
Yeah. And he's about to put his hand on the like plinth.
Yeah, he's at the actual device with the alien hand imprint, and he's about to do it, and then yes.
Yeah, Cohaagen walks out of the shadows with a gun.
Yeah.
And tries to talk him out of it. And Cohaagen actually says something here that's fairly persuasive, which is he says, actually, that would blow up the entire planet. Why do you think the aliens never turned it on?
Well, there's a lot of the other thing this movie is good at is a lot of misinformation is being thrown at Arnold and almost thrown at the audience, where we have to decide what is the better decision. So it was kind of like when the doctor visited him in the hotel room. He said, he's saying, no, if you do this, this will happen. So they're always fucking with Arnold, but it's done in a way where it's really effective, where you just don't know what the truth is.
And this is exact example of that, right?
It's like the same propaganda almost.
Fair question. Why wouldn't the aliens have turned this thing on if it would save their planet?
What do you waiting for? Turn it on is what the aliens want. Yeah,
right.
They don't do it.
Yep. But he says something about who cares what you believe. I'm going to blow up the whole thing.
I'll blow this place up and be home in time for cornflakes.
I wanted Hauser back, but no. You had to be Quaid.
I am Quaid.
You're nothing. You're nobody. You're a stupid dream. Well, all dreams come to an end.
also says, you had to be Quaid. You couldn't be my friend. He's like, I am Quaid. He's like, you're nothing. You're nobody. You're a stupid dream.
And all dreams come to an end.
Yeah, I love Ronnie Cox in this scene.
Yeah.
Relishing it.
But Mel shoots him.
Yeah.
But he's activated the thermal detonator or whatever he's got in his hand, which...
Oh, no, we're doomed.
Quaid tosses it into like this shaft. It explodes.
It's the same shaft the Emperor got thrown down.
Yeah. And then, the vacuum of Mars starts sucking them out to the surface.
Yeah.
They're able to...
They're all groaning and going,
Yep. Cohaagen goes first. Schwarzenegger and Mel are able to hold on just a little bit longer, just long enough for Schwarzenegger to put his hand on the device and turn it on.
I think Cohaagen really believes it, though, because right before Cohaagen gets sucked down in the atmosphere, he says, no, don't do it. You'll die. Everybody will die. So I don't know. I think he might actually be scared to use it. I don't know.
That makes sense. Like, because at this point, because he probably figures I'm going to die on the surface of Mars. But
boy, is he right.
Oh,
he does, because again, this sequence is really what attracted me to the movie, was that gnarly head, which we'll get to, but it was the cover of Fangoria magazine. I was either Fangoria or Starlog, I can't remember. I have it, but it showed what happens to Cohaagen. Since Cohaagen goes first,
it's the thing we saw at the beginning of the movie, which is
the big foreshadowing of what happens when you land on the outskirts of Mars and you have no protection, you have no suit. Your head starts to inflate, and it's basically like just a worse nightmare of what happens in the vacuum of space, and your head starts to inflate, and that gives makeup artists a really awesome opportunity to have some fun.
Right. And we watched that happen to him. Arnold and Mel are sucked out. It starts happening to them.
Well, he does manage to get his hand into the and it's a great Jerry Goldsmith moment. It's like dun 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 dun.
It glows green. There's green lightning everywhere. The machines turn on. These red hot pistons come down into the ice.
It's such a huge finale too. That's the other thing about Total Recall, is it's got a lot of suspenseful moments and kind of small sort of car chases and little things like that, and a lot of intrigue, but it's more foot chase intrigue, and then at the end of this movie it's just like the biggest ending you've ever seen. So
yeah, I love the way this kind of it wraps up fairly quickly, but basically they're all choking out on Mars.
Yeah, they all get sucked out. They're all well. So Cohaagen finally gets to the point where, yes, on the cover was Cohaagen's face with his eyeballs just popping out and his tongue, and it's really fucked up looking. But I basically was like, I have to see the movie and see who this is.
Right.
And I'm like, that's Ronnie Cox. Ronnie Cox, that happens to him. I got a new favorite movie.
Yep. And Arnold and Mel are doing,
it switched to the mechanical then, but she's doing her, and he's like, awful.
But the machine works. Huge geysers of air are coming out of the mountain.
Yeah.
At which point the entire sky of Mars turns blue.
Yeah, it's the air forcefully makes it. I will say that if you watch the movie, it looks like they would have been dead by then, because like their heads were like really inflating. Like even if they went back to normal, I was like, oh, they're never going to be the same again.
No, they've got
Lori,
brain damage.
Yeah, it's like listen, Melina, I want to be with you. My eyeball keeps falling out. We can't go for a walk in the garden.
Right.
But it turns into a kind of a beautiful sort of like utopia all of a sudden, and they go back to normal, and wouldn't you know it, Mars has an atmosphere, and it's beautiful.
Well, because throughout this, like all of the glass domes everywhere we see are getting shattered.
Right. By the force of the air.
Right.
Yeah.
And so all the mutants, like they're all standing, all the Martians, mutant and non-mutant, they're standing up, breathing in their new air.
Yeah.
It's like hopeful.
Yeah. Michael Jackson comes down and says, "Can you feel it?" No, I'm just kidding. Never mind. It's like, now we can live in harmony.
That's basically it. Yeah. Like this is the end. It
turns into the "Can You Feel It" video.
And they're we've got Quaid and Mel are kind of standing on this precipice, looking out at it, and he says, "I can't believe it. It's like a dream." And
I just had the terrible thought.
What if this is a dream? And then kiss me quick before you wake up.
Right. End. So yes, the end. But I've read some analysis, and the question is that fade to white? It's not a fade to black. Is that a lobotomy? So that's a little kind of Inception ending there. Is Quaid getting lobotomized, and the whole thing was in his head? So I would like to believe that it was all real and it's just a fade to white, because I mean there are several hints in this movie that it's all real. I mean, the doctor coming in and that whole bullshit that he's still at Recall, and then it turns out he is on Mars, and they're still bad guys and stuff. I mean, it's real. And then Quaid getting knocked out, and just the whole thing about him, formerly being Hauser, who was a friend of Cohaagen. I'd like to believe in my heart that it was real, but there are those hints that it's not real. But I don't buy it.
I think, like I said, I think the movie leans way more towards it's real than it's not.
Yeah.
I'm glad they leave the door open, though, because I think that makes it fun. But, there's a lot of scenes where we see things from other characters' perspective, and Arnold's not even in the room.
He's not there, so it's
why are we seeing this if it's a dream?
Exactly. So there are a lot of giveaways. So it's Christopher Nolan, this is not. And unlike Inception, this movie's fun. Yeah. Sorry, I'm a dickhead when it comes to I just feel like he's just too heavy-handed and serious. But in this movie, it's more hammy. It's more B movie where it's like, well, it gets when it gets philosophical, it's like, what if it's a dream? And it's like, fuck it, let's just get back to the action. Come on, like it's more fun than having to sit through a lecture like Inception and have to spend the night trying to analyze what the hell you just saw. But that's just me.
Yeah, this movie is not as interested in that as a philosophical question. It's interested in it to the extent it makes the sci-fi more fun.
Right.
That you do have to wonder, especially that, like I said, those tense scenes, because that we highlighted at the end and with the doctor, where, like you said, they're telling him things that does make sense. You're about to make a decision,
scary stuff.
And you could make a very wrong decision.
Right, and again, so remember, you if you don't do this, you'll be lobotomized. And there was talk of the lobotomy, but again, there's a lot of evidence. If it's a courtroom drama, I mean, it's real. Set them free.
See, I would say, by a preponderance of the evidence, it's not a dream. Is it beyond a reasonable doubt? No,
it's not. But it's not an OJ level. It's a dream. it's not that. So. In the sense of Verhoeven doing a large-scale action movie like RoboCop, I think they sort of get philosophical, but yes, at the end of the day, it's an action movie, and you can be pretty assured that it's real. It's not it doesn't have to be so smart that you have to analyze it that way. I don't think it's trying to be that smart. I think they poke at it is it real, but then they sort of just say, it's real, whatever.
Yeah, and I think Verhoeven is not as interested in that as he is usually in the kind of sociological satire stuff.
The propaganda and all that kind of stuff, because that's really where his bread and butter is the propaganda and all the RoboCop-esque commercials and things like that.
And the upstairs downstairs stuff, right? This is how the upper crust lives. This is how the mutants live down below.
Right.
Those things they're more in the margins of this movie than they are in RoboCop, but there's still things that really add to the texture of the film and give it more depth than just Schwarzenegger killing a room full of dudes in various and often hilarious ways.
Well, it's intelligent. I mean, RoboCop was written at Ed Neumeyer, I think, which was a really well done script. This had a really well done script. It is a smart movie. It is more of a thinking man's movie, which is why I think it stood the test of time. Is that it is a thinking man's movie. I'm just saying it's not. At the end of the day, it knows it's first and foremost entertainment, just like RoboCop. It's entertainment, and that's and what a hell of an entertaining film. I mean every time this gets a release, whether it's on a high def release or I just have to own it. I'm still waiting to buy the 4K, but I can't wait to watch it in 4K because it's one of those movies where you really want to see it look its best, and it's just got so many great one-liners, and it's one of those earlier Arnold films where it really sort of introduces you to his charm and his charisma and his leading man status, that he can carry a movie, that he is the movie practically. So there's so much of that makes this movie so good.
Yeah, like we said, 4 buckets of popcorn, right? You don't put it down the whole way through. You just feel like what's going to happen next.
No.
And it's like it's constantly giving you jokes. It's prodding the back of your brain with more interesting questions, all at the same time. And just the fun of it, it really is what Recall promises, right? It's like you're gonna be a secret agent who saves the planet,
right? It's really cool. Secret, it is. There are several. It's another funny thing you bring up is there's several moments in the movie where they sort of pitch the movie to you of what it's going to be. So that is one moment, or just the commercials or the things for Recall. They're just constantly telling you all the shit that's going to happen in this movie, and it does 10 times over. I mean, it really delivers on sort of the promises. And, again, I think, kind of like a lot of the movies that we've been discussing, you know, it's a top tier production, from casting to special effects to editing to makeup effects to production design to the whole thing. And obviously score is always in I think every one that we've discussed, score has always been such a huge part of it. It's got so many things that stand the test of time, and it was the beginning of the 90s, man. This was it, you know. This was a movie that sort of came out right at the beginning of 1990. There were a lot of great releases that year. Again, I love Die Hard 2. I think it's fantastic. I mean, obviously 90 brought us Home Alone. We have so many, but this was really a great summer action movie. This really delivered.
Yeah, and I'm glad we spent the time to do this. You know, this is I think our fourth Schwarzenegger movie on this podcast. We've done Terminator.
Well, it's my first. And I had
first.
A blast because if I ever do it again, I will not stop doing the Arnold. Like, I can't. Can't help it.
Yeah, we've done Terminator 1 and 2, we've done Predator, and we've done this. There's a chance I'm forgetting one, but I think that's it.
Yeah.
And like just those 4 movies alone are so strong, and this one easily stands alongside them because there's just something here for everybody to enjoy. Like it's hard to imagine someone walking away from this. I could see someone being turned off by the violence, but if you can get past the violence, like it's so much. Well, it's everything you want in a movie.
You know, I don't know if it comes out wrong, but the violence has its charm. I mean, one of the charming things about the first Die Hard, and definitely the second Die Hard, is the violence. It's sort of it's for adults, but it never loses its sense of fun. It is first and foremost a fun movie. It's a great looking movie. Again, aside from some of the effect sequences that I don't think have stood the test of time, a couple shots here and there. It's a wonderful looking movie, and it's very well directed, and it's for Verhoeven. I'm not really a Starship Troopers guy. I saw it in the theater. You know, Basic Instinct, fine, whatever. But my top 2 are always going to be RoboCop and Total Recall for Verhoeven, like hands down.
Agreed.
Those are his top 2 as far as I'm concerned. They deliver in every category, and they're both sort of larger than life, and they have a lot of fun stuff to say. So,
well, I think that explains why we're here talking about this, and why our whole generation, I think future generations will still be falling in love with this movie.
And one last thing is, I remember the way the commercial said it: "For the memory of a lifetime, recall, recall, recall." Great theme song. That stood the test of time. It's great. I should listen to that on my way home.
It's a good jingle.
It's a wonderful jingle. It's very annoying.
Well, so we're here at the end of the podcast, and so yeah, Alex, if people want to keep track of the canyon, how do they do that?
Yeah, so again, I have the private link that I'm sending out to certain people. So again, if you're listening to this and you want to see it, I can send it to you. Again, it's mainly being shown at festivals, but you can find me again on IMDb. You can see me on my, find me on my Instagram, my Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm usually never on, but I'm on there somewhere if you want to look me up. So I'm in a couple places, but mostly Facebook and Instagram. We do have a Canyon page that thankfully you've always been good about posting that. So yep. Alex Sosin presents the Canyon, and yeah, man, I'm just staying busy. I'm writing screenplays and hopefully directing another short soon. And just always tired, always busy, always down to imitate Arnold.
Same.
Yeah. I can tell. Yeah.
So if you are a fan of the show, you want to give us a good review, we'd sure love that. Giving podcast reviews actually does a lot, not just my show, but any show, does a lot to help people find it. It makes it more visible when people go looking for podcasts. So please do that. Or word of mouth is also greatly appreciated. If you want to know what's coming up next, just go follow us on the socials, especially on, for now, Facebook, Instagram, and BlueSky. Who knows if I'm going to stick with the metaverse as the people behind it drive our society off a cliff.
Well, as society burns to the ground, who knows what'll be left? But you can't give up, man.
No, I'm going to keep posting clues to next week's episode. Every Wednesday there will be a clue to the follow-up episode of Nostalgia Arcanum. So just go to your social network of choice and look for us. We'll be there. You can find it. So I think that'll do it for this episode. Man, thanks again, Alex, for another fun time revisiting a classic.
I'm always down. I mean, I think you could tell. I just really, this is one that's close to the heart. I just live and breathe action movie. I love Schwarzenegger, obviously. So, thanks for inviting me.
All right. Yeah. So, until next time, that is one more entry in the Nostalgia Arcanum.
I've been dreaming of going to Mars, where mutants drive plastic cars. So I go there, you know the rest. The best part was the girl with 3 breasts. Total Recallin. Total Recallin. So I'm on Mars and I meet Queto and I pull this big metallic thing out of my nose. It makes me scream and shout and move my big robotic head all about. Total Recallin. See you at the party, Victor. Total
Come on, Cohaagen, you got what you want. Give the people live. You've already captured me. Watching this really further. Everything is where you want it to be. Come on, Cohaagen, you've got what you want. Like a people evil. Let you kill them needlessly. On the end of this movie, you will be begging on your knees. You will be begging on your knees. Why would you kill them needlessly? Come on, Cohaagen. You've got what you want. Give this